No?
Success. The group now has nearly a dozen institutions across multiple campuses and has cemented its reputation as a trailblazer and frontrunner in the sector.
Good afternoon to one and all. On behalf of SCMS Group of Educational Institutions and Association of Indian Management Schools, I am honored to welcome you all for today's panel discussion on gender equity and inclusivity in higher education. Gender equity and inclusivity are essential components of a fair and just higher education system. Despite progress, disparities persist, affecting students, faculty, and staff of diverse genders. Promoting equity and inclusivity enhances academic excellence, fosters creativity, and prepares students for success. Today, we have two guest speakers for this session, Dr. Meena Chindamaneni and Dr. Indira J. Parikh, and the session will be moderated by Dr. Narayani R. Now, let me introduce the panelists to you. Moderator of this event, Dr. Narayani Ramachandran, Director and Professor of Finance at SVKM's NMIMS Bangalore, brings over 2 decades of experience in academics and industry, specializing in corporate finance, financial modeling, infrastructure financing, and financial derivatives. She has held positions at NMIMS, BIM, and Tyagarajar School of Management. Dr. Narayani has conducted significant research on stock market indices and financial modeling and has led management development programs for major organizations like TVS. She is also a member of the Finance Committee of a central government university and has conducted training programs for PWD employees. Ma'am, we are most privileged to have you here with us on this special day. Welcome, ma'am.
Now, let me introduce the guest speakers for this session.
We just got introduced some time back. So I think we should miss that. Yeah, you can skip that and we can start.
I think I'll do the honor. Namaskaram, everyone. This is a moment for me as a fanfare moment. If you get to meet the person who you would like to meet, and as a bonus, like a kid who gets a candy, gets to talk to them very closely for a very long time and ask any of your silly questions. That is the moment I am in. You believe me or not? The moment I get to know that I'm going to participate in this event, and I have 2 dignitaries to whom I will be the moderator, and the vice chancellors whom I wouldn't get a chance to meet and listen to them, I really jumped into the opportunity. Every day, I spend more than half an hour, it's my schedules, researching in each and every one of them. And almost 1 GB content of materials I have it on all those who are sitting on the dais. Because I strongly believe you learn from others' journey. So I have prepared so many questions. Because I'm a finance professor, I don't have much done in neither leadership nor women's study, nor diversity, equity, and inclusion. But I've traveled my path. So I've done my enough research to stand in front of such illuminaries. However, now, blank. I'm totally blank. I have an iPad to support, but I'm going to ask questions from my heart. Every one of you who are sitting here, what are the questions that may come to your mind? What are the questions which may come to our mind? Right? That's what I'm going to ask. Let me give a warm welcome to the illuminaries on the dais, Dr. Indira J. Parikh and Dr. Meena Chindamaneni. Yesterday night, I closed my laptop by 3:30 after completing the full research on Dr. Indra J. Parekh. Every single byte of internet, what it can offers to her, it is on my fingertip. You can conduct a quiz, I'll pass full grade. Now, I want you to know not about the content of her book, not the summary of her research papers. There are few lines I want you to know about her, and I'm going to introduce her, not like the very sincere work done by your MC. Do you know that at the 6th standard, she got bored of her studies, informed her father, support of her father, she wrote the board exam. When she was in 6th standard, she completed her 10th board exam. She went to the school, and when she had to relocate to Ranchi for her higher studies, college people said, "You're too young for college." You know what was her answer? "Give me the exam." They kept quiet and admitted her in the college. She came out with beautiful colors, feathers on her cap, and when her marriage situation came, she stood by her stand, though it's arranged marriage. She took the decision, and I love this line. When I'm leave Cochin, I take this line. If she stood by her point, if others criticize or they throw thorns on her way, she says, it is their problem. I love the statement. It is their problem. It is not mine. That she exhibited throughout her life. And welcome you, ma'am, to this panel discussion. I can go on for the entire 45 minutes talking about you. Coming to you, Dr. Meena Chindamanani. She's my Provost Vice Chancellor of the university. Another occasion, another person. Today I'm here as the Director of NMIMS Bengaluru, heading a sizable institution and remarkable one which is rated number 2 in Karnataka in management studies, next one only to IMB. Today we are there. I've taken this position to that level thanks to her. I'm the first employee recruit of NMIMS Bengaluru when they started the campus. I refused all possible leadership position year on year, citing that my family comes first. And you have that stage where you have content, you seem to have done well, and I love my area of finance. So I want to achieve in that area. Barring for her nudge, now you don't say no, you take it up. That was a situation where we had to take up leadership position. And I credit my position to you, ma'am. Had you not said that no, you must, I think I would have hesitated one more time. Thanks to you. And I see her every walk of life. A woman who did Bharatanatyam as a Pro Vice Chancellor and posted it in our portal. A woman who brings, whenever there is a official meetings, we have to go very often. She is in the podium of a Pro Vice Chancellor. First question for you, did you have your food? The empathy, not only for me, not only for women, for anybody. Even when my Vice Chancellor is hungry, she will see to that. She'll see to that. You can see the Nari Shakti there. Inspiration. Thank you, ma'am. Welcome to the panel. Now, without much ado, I have a lot of questions prepared for you, but to start with Dr. Indra, ma'am. So, how did you use your network to leverage into leadership position? Did networking help you?
Before I answer that, I want to tell you something.
Yes, ma'am.
I came here because of your letter. Your letter had so much spirit and so much heartwarming invitation. There was no way to say no.
Thank you, ma'am.
So,
Apurva, ma'am.
thank you.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful letter, full coming from your heart. So I said, "No, I must go."
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I needed to tell you that.
Thank you, ma'am.
And your question was, can you repeat the question?
Ma'am, networking, that is knowing people and networking, do you think that will help you in your career when you advance the leadership position?
All right. In IIM, but there is a time period in school also. At school, the first responsibility I got was watching time. Because I was a girl who had a watch.
Okay.
So I had to keep the class timing and go and ring the bell. And And I manipulated at times when the class was boring. They
Okay.
would goad me. So I would go 5 minutes early. And if the class was nice, I would go 5 minutes late. But that was the responsibility. It is, I think, the ability to take responsibility and deliver. When I joined the institute, the first responsibility I got was in the admissions committee. I was always on time. I had read my work. I had see whatever I had to do. And the kind of questions I asked in the admissions committee, people started enjoying it. And so they, when I was not there, started asking the same questions. So I got registered in their mind as a person who could deliver. The second I was in the placement committee, where I showed to them that I can do things which earlier have not been done. In the placement committee, the first year, from 25 international summer placement, I took it to 75.
Wow.
So that became again the responsibility, the delivery, and the achievement. Similarly, I got positions. I also got to do the redesigning of the PGP program. I was the chair of that committee. And first people said, isko kya chair bana diya? See, the difficulty was because I was a research associate first in the institute, people could not get the research associate mindset of myself out of their heads. So every time I got a position of responsibility, they would say, isko kya bana raha? Ye to research associate thi. Now that I had to overcome, I overcame when I became the doctoral program chairman.
Okay.
That time I reviewed the doctoral program chairman and redesigned it. And that worked very well. So after that, things started kind of changing, that I could do things. And then I became the PGP chairman. Then I became the alumni committee members. So a lot of responsibility was given to me. I also became the coordinator of the MEP, the 4.5-month program. And that was the time faculty for the first time got a standing ovation.
Okay.
Because of the way I would present my faculty and because of the way I would talk about the faculty, all of them got a standing ovation. That was the first time.
That's great.
So I think the leadership is for taking responsibility. And responsibility and delivering it with the best of the possible ways. And when making everybody inclusive. And in my program, some of the faculty disliked me very much. And they would never invite me to their program. But because those faculty were very good, I would keep inviting them to my programs. Okay. And they would say, why are you inviting me? I said, because you are very good.
Okay. So you never keep a grudge on somebody who's not invited you. Still you made them inclusive because you were recognizing talents.
See, when I became the PGP chairman, I had to hold a faculty meeting for the PGP program. And they really pushed me to the wall. And they would not let any decisions be taken. And that day, no decisions got taken. But I kept I remained strong, and I kept taking the discussions further and further. Finally, when we came out of the faculty meeting, somebody says, Indira, are you not angry? I said, why? Said, we did this. I said, you did it in the faculty lounge, faculty meeting. You haven't done it here to me. You did it to a dean's role or a PGP chairman's role.
You didn't take it personally.
I didn't take it personally. That helped quite a bit in the entire stay in the IIM as well as FLAME.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the points. Now, coming to Dr. Meena Chindamaneni. Ma'am, I'm sure you come across quite a lot of obstacles or challenges when people look at you at this role, if not within the university, when you are dealing with external bodies or with the corporate houses. What kind of challenges you come across and how do you overcome? What is your personal tip?
I'll connect it to the earlier question that you asked, ma'am.
relations makes things
Networking.
happen.
Okay.
Networking, and networking is not just knowing a person. Acquaintance is different, building a relation is different. For me, if you have to go through rules, books, and all exactly what is written, you need to have that kind of bureaucracy being done every time that you need to have something happen. I don't know, right from the beginning, whenever we meet, I have met the officials or whatever, whomever I have met, we have really made up good relations that things happen. It's not because they're of that position, in that position, things happen.
Okay.
So relations, and they don't happen overnight. You need to nourish, you need to cherish,
Nurture the
and you
relationship.
need to take it ahead. It's not of give and take, but it's some kind of bonding that happens. May it be any official of any statutory body outside the university or within the university or within the department. So that's where I feel we are able to do so much, is only because of relationship, and this relations happen only because of your networking.
Okay.
Outside, it's only networking. And that's where such forums help. We also
Okay.
started going somewhere, attending such forums. We used to sit like this, like students. Once at least, for that I really appreciate my guide, my mentor. Even during post-graduation, he used to always say, you go out and see others, what's happening in your own field, speak to people, you get ideas. And actually speaking, all those things helped me when we did our PhD, when I did my PhD. So that networking, that group, that forum, visibility, confidence, where you stand, what you should do, all that really helps.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I have another question for Dr. Indra, ma'am. You are known not only in your area of study, but also you expand your horizon into MDPs, leadership program for corporate houses, then started participating in policy decisions and started creating institutional, you were institutional builder. You had a long career curve, 60 plus years. You nurtured many leaders across the globe. When you move from one sphere to another sphere, how did you learn quickly? Did you not have the fear in your mind? This is not my forte. Dr. Jansi ma'am was talking, when I had 2 crores, I didn't have a finance officer. It shows she was a continuous learner. How did you quickly move from one sphere? The same thing with most of them on the dais. How did you learn? Ma'am moved from pharmacy to management to registrar role to now pro vice chancellor role. You've gone much far ahead. Nothing stopped you. No fear in your mind. Will I be able to do it?
No, that's a very good question, because there are lots of people who are excellent, better than you. So when I talk to them, I have this in mind that the person will say something which would trigger my thoughts.
Okay.
And I think that is very important. There is one colleague of mine whom I like to work with, and we've been working for the last 40, 50 years. He triggers a lot of new ideas in my head. But he cannot write it down. I can write it down. So what we discuss, I write it down and get into a paper or a book.
So you collaborate.
Collaboration, he doesn't collaborate with me. He promises, Indira, let's write, but he's never ready to write.
Okay.
But he's a trigger.
Okay.
And an excellent trigger. He will speak in such beautiful ways that I can definitely, listening to him, write a book.
Wow.
So I have to accept him that he is good and not saying he is my competitor. He is somebody who triggers, he is somebody who contributes, and we can work together.
Okay. Ma'am, follow up one question. Did you set goals, the so-called SMART goals? Goal post, I should achieve this by this time. Or did it evolve over a period of time?
The latter part is true. It has evolved over a period of time. Things have come my way and I have responded. I have not gone searching that I must do this. The only goal I had was, my husband was a PhD and I was a high school graduate. So I must have a BA.
Wonderful, ma'am.
That was my goal, which when I did BA, I completed BA 8 years after my marriage in University of Rochester. I went to the education department and said I want to do my MA. So that was my second goal. Then I definitely came to IIM as a research associate, and I said, this is a nice place to work with. People are flying all over the place. I want to do that.
Okay.
So I must finish my PhD. It took me 8 years to finish my PhD, but I did.
Okay,
I
your
never
perseverance. Perseverance.
Never gave up. And I had to work from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. almost for 9 months to finish my PhD. But I did.
Youngsters, please make a note of it. Hard work, discipline, persistence, perseverance. These are all the words you see it in the book, OB books. But this is a living legend who is telling you all that. You must take it home, all these points, and remember it in your brain. Now, coming to Dr. Meena, ma'am. Now, can you tell us, you are in the I would say in the career growth. Still, there's a long journey ahead. Do you have ambitions? Do you envision yourself something far ahead than what you are today? Would you like to share your dream with us?
It's difficult to speak when people have experience more than your age.
Yes.
Actually. So, but yes, ambition one should have, I do have. But every day when you get up, you need to do better. Because I always feel when I was in school, every year you have that annual program.
Yes.
Okay. In one of the years when I was in primary, during the prize distribution, I was called on the stage 7 times. Okay. So my mom said, is it that they don't get anybody else, or is it that it's really, what is it, 7 times? It is actually looking very odd. And that was some time when there was a family gathering, and my mummy's family is a big family, 6 sisters, 3 brothers. So they were all there, at home. So we were just discussing. So one of my mummy's elder sisters said, don't say so. Appreciate that 7 times she was called means that much talent that child has. So never put down the talent, show her the further road. From then on, I have something that you can still do better. You can still do better. But I have never woken up saying that, no, tomorrow I need to reach this position. I have never, thank you to God, few more namaskarams to God, that things have come to me, maybe because of the hard work or whatever, but I have never run behind things.
What we decide from both their answer is, they never set a target to achieve and limit. They did what they did best, or doing best. So I think the titles, the roles, the leadership position is a byproduct of their hard work and discipline and responsibility they willing to hold, rather than the target they set and achieved and relish. Thank you very much for sharing it. Now let me go to the other side of the women. Both of you, during your speech, said very clearly, how did you manage family without compromising feminine qualities, and you could manage both. So both of you, the question applies to both of you. Do you think juggling is possible for women? We can have it all. Family life, career life, social life, and for our own self-awareness, our own self. So you strongly believe that it is possible.
Juggling is needed. It is not only possible, it is required also.
But
You have to manage. Yeah.
we can have
But
it all.
You see, you must understand one thing. Today's times it's more difficult because people marry late, have a child late. When they are ready for fast track, they have a child. And therefore the child becomes difficult to manage.
All women to note, early marriage is preferred.
I see all my flame students. All my flame students, I used to tell the girls, jaldi shadi karo, jaldi bacha paida karo, kaam pe jao.
See,
Apne
it's a
bach-
different version. I think I relish what I'm hearing. I never heard when I was young at that age. Dr. Meena was giving all the compliments to her in-laws' house, and that gives a very positive hope. Marriage is not going to stop you in your career path. If you're lucky enough and you work on that family, you can progress. And ma'am is saying very clearly, have child early.
Marry early, have a child early, grandparents are happy, give the child to the grandparents and then go to work.
Wow, excellent strategy to go home for the youngsters. If you hear this from the family, we will not like to hear it. We will not like to hear it. But here is a woman achiever who says that you must believe it. Thank you, ma'am. It's a valuable piece of advice.
It's really
I
true,
started
ma'am.
work when my son was 10.
Okay.
Before that, I was still studying and bringing up the child.
Okay.
He was studying, I was studying. So when he did his high school graduation, I did my PhD.
Wow.
And I made him my listener of my presentation I was going to make to the faculty.
Wow, 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 wow. Wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful. So it is possible. The seed that you are getting it today, it should get implanted in your brain. The moment that you cross the life path, it should germinate and give you confidence. That is the purpose of the particular session. So please do ensure that you store it safely somewhere in your right side of the brain. Now, moving on to the next question. Ma'am, is there anything you would have done differently as a women leader? Now you regret, I should have done it like that.
I think so. Many times I think the way I brought up my child, I could have done a little differently.
Okay.
Because that time I was young, I was a little stupid, did not know how to bring up children or how to do things. Give you an example. We went to Denmark when my son was 4. So we put him to a school and I drove away. And I got a panic call that he's crying. Now, what I should have done was waited there until certain time, but I had no idea that I should be doing it. There are these small things which I could have done better now that I have the knowledge and the wisdom to do such things. So I advise, what now I do is advise the parents what to do, but I did not do it.
So nice of you to bravely say that out. I'm sure this is a point to be noted. Dr. Meena, do you have anything what you should have done?
I still regret because I am too outspoken. I am very blunt. So I feel one shouldn't be too blunt. It really gets on to your progress sometimes or whatever it is, people don't like it. So you could put it in a way which doesn't be a deterrent to either your progress nor to your relation. So that kind of outspokenness should be packaged it well.
Okay.
But that's what I feel is
Okay,
my
ma'am. So we
negative
have to
point.
be taking calculated risk and little
You need to
diplomatic
package, a
and
little
practice.
diplomatic.
Okay. I would like to bring in one trivia about Dr. Indra, right? She comes from a family where a lot of pujas does done. Swami Narayana puja when it is done, way back when she was young, along with her mother-in-law. The saint who comes and does the puja, see to that no women stays back. So her mother-in-law insisted she should not stay back. But you know, Dr. Indra being Dr. Indra, she said, no, come what may, I'll stay back for the puja. Then she had an argument citing Lord Rama, how he has to perform the puja along with the golden statue, see to that the puja is complete. So she argued with the we call it as the saint or the priest. Then the priest had to think through and gave her permission. Not only that, over a period of time, whenever you should see that point, it's not only she got herself included for that puja, she convinced the priest, it's not only Dr. Indra alone get to participate in the puja. Anytime when Swami Narayana puja happens, you should permit women should also participate. Am I right, ma'am?
You see, in Swaminarayan, they don't have women sit in the puja. They ask the women to leave their home. When they come in, you've got to leave. And I said, I will not leave my home. Not only that, I will feed. You're not supposed to serve them. So my mother-in-law said, but why don't you go up? I said, no, I will not go up. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to welcome. Because finally, he is a guru, your guru coming to my home. I am going to be here. So everybody was kind of pushing, okay, what is she doing, what is she up to? And when the guru came, he was also shocked to see me. Then they went and did something in his ears, whatever they told him. Finally, I told him, I said, no, I have decided to stay. This is my home. I am going to be here and I'm going to sit in the puja. If you don't let me sit in the puja, let's not do the puja. I don't want puja in my house without me. So he says, okay, let's do some dhun. So he did some dhun, he did some prayers. Then he opened his eyes and said, okay, you can sit. I said, no, not me alone. You open it up. It's not me. I can argue with you. I said, either you are afraid of me, then you don't trust your people. Or you don't trust them, so you don't trust me, then you have no respect for women. So what's the sense? If you don't have respect for women and say, okay, women are going to contaminate your men, then your training is poor and you have less respect for women. Then he did some more dhun and said, okay, so cut up from today.
So
But
nice.
from then on, but I must tell you, I must respect him a lot. Whenever there is a there were once in London, 750 couples doing Havan. He announced it in public that you have amongst you who have started this, so you must thank her. Now he acknowledged that he did not let people do it, but because I insisted and argued with him, he has opened it up. So he is acknowledging that it's not his brilliant idea, but somebody has done it.
Okay. That leads me to the next question to Dr. Meena. During the inaugural session, you would have heard Dr. Apurva Palkar was acknowledging how she took up the role of AIMS president on the nudging by Dr. Uday. So how she has taken it up. She has the magnanimity to acknowledge the other side. It is not male-female fight. This comes out very clearly. I want the young minds, young girls here. It is not about male-female fight. If you notice, they are willing to acknowledge each other, coexist with each other, you know. So that comes to the question to you, Dr. Meena. Is there anybody who have contributed from the other gender for your growth? How did they nudged you? I know her father, how she has done. Yes.
The first thing is father, because when he told me at 19 to get married, I said 19 is too early. He said, after all, I'm your father. When I know you have a potential and you're doing your professional degree, do you think I will look in for somebody who will not allow you to do that? So just don't mix up things. Go ahead, have faith.
Okay.
So that
you
was
obeyed
first
your father.
That was first of my thing that, father helped me in having clarity in thoughts. Don't mix up issues. Things will fall in place. Second is my mentor, who guided me for my MPharm and PhD. Many times, and especially so, I mean, no offense to senior guides, but many times in at least Maharashtra that I have grown up, we have seen guides having a lot of things being, the research students doing a lot of things other than research for the guides, willingly or unwillingly. So I used to have that image in mind. And my guide used to be, like, if you never ever cross the professional relation.
Okay.
Never ever had. At that time, he was the NBA chairman when I was a student of PhD. He used to casually come to a lab and say, I don't understand, how do I bring all this into a report? Can you help me with this report whenever you have time? Look at it. No, not demanding. If a person, a guide who was so senior was to retire at that point in time, he is 87 today. Okay? So he had the humbleness to come to the lab. His last PhD student, he could demand. But the way he used to say is, could you help me framing this as a report whenever you have time? That humbleness actually touched me. And that's where I started learning all these accreditations, because he used to go for a lot of inspections and he was very involved in PCI, AICT and all that. So he is the second person I have always been encouraged.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving an inspiring story about who mentored you, who were behind your success, and acknowledging their acknowledging their contribution in your life. Now, one important thing, usually women are content. Whatever pay scale they get, whatever, they are not very good with negotiating. And they don't come up and ask, I deserve this, I need it, give it to me. We'll ask for the institution, we'll ask for the group, we'll ask for the team. But when it comes to your own self, you don't price your services properly. This is a common trend that I've been watching being a finance professor. Indra ma'am, how did your negotiation went along?
Okay, I'll give you describe this as an example. We were doing a program by Commonwealth Secretariat in Sierra Leone. And in discussions, I discovered that they had given me lesser fees than the white women. So I got very upset. So I argued with the coordinator and I said, how can you do such a thing? You are doing a women managers equality program and here you are discriminating between races and color.
Correct, ma'am.
And then what happened was, luckily for me, my basic way of teaching is, I must understand the culture before I teach the people. So I was kind of, when they were designing the program, I told them, look, first give one session in asking them about their culture, or what is their problem, what are their internal dilemmas, and then you design a program. Don't design a program in the air when you don't know anything about the Africans. This is your first program there. So everybody was, and they had brought boxes full of books which they were copying and putting it in, those times there were stencils. So, and I wasn't doing anything. I said, no, I will first listen to them and then I will talk to them. So they prepared stencils after the whole 2-3 days they did that. We started our program and the power went off.
Wow.
So everybody says we can't teach. I said I can teach.
Teach.
Just
Powerful
give me,
women.
but if when I start my session, I will not stop it when the lights come.
Wow.
I will stop it when I finish my session. So I did a program based on a storytelling. And that went so successful that it took the whole program a success. Now, then I negotiated with her. I said, look, now you better raise my fees, make it same as yours or all the other white women. I cannot accept coming to this program, which is a gender equality, and then you say it is not color equality. They increased my fees and then subsequently invited me to 5 other programs.
Wow.
So you have to
Very
first
encouraging. Yes, ma'am.
show that you are better than them. My pastime is to show them I'm better than the whites. My pastime.
Wow, 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 wow. I think many a times we come across discrimination. That time you should not get out. You should not get frustrated. You should not keep complaining, beaning and whining. Stand there, prove it, then 5 times they invited you. Ma'am, how is your journey about negotiation?
I had a disadvantage of having things come to me when I was too young. When I became the registrar, probably I was very young. So everybody used to think, ye choti hai, plus she has joined as a teacher. So they have seen me grown up. They never realized that the position is the same, what is required for the others. Believe me, ma'am, I came up from the school to the university without a penny increase in my pay. But then it didn't prick me so much because the position was new. I didn't know what is the position asking for. But after 2 years, I have never looked back because the kind of work we used to handle, at least my office used to handle 10 different things that nobody else could manage with a very small office. Even today, my office has only 3 staff, 1 assistant, that's it. But I felt that more number is more a problem. With few people and more efficient people, you could run it better. So it was not what I asked then. It was then what I got. And even the current position that I am in, I have not applied for.
Okay.
I haven't applied for. So I felt that is the biggest reward. But then when you get such things, your responsibilities increase tenfold
Very true.
because you feel you're accountable for the trust that they have in you.
Totally agree with you, ma'am. And I walk the talk, whatever you said. So similar for me. So now, rather than narrating my experience, I'll go back to Indra, ma'am, with rapid fire questions, single word questions, single word answers, because I have more than around 100 plus questions, though I have shared with them 12. So paucity of time, let me go for the rapid fire question. Ma'am, the same question goes to you also. So followed by Dr. Indra, ma'am, you also answer the question. What do you consider as your strength?
What do I consider as my
Strength. It's a typo cost question, usually. What is your strength?
See, I feel that if there is a darkness and if I see a ray of sunlight, I would focus on the sunlight.
Wow, positivity.
That is my strength.
Positivity.
Positivity is if there is something to be done, even in an institution, I will see how it can be done, it is not possible to do. How it is possible to do and how you can make it do it.
Wow.
Even if it is not possible, how do you make it do it? That's my strength.
Positivity is your strength. We will take it, ma'am. Ma'am?
To be as I am.
To be, wow, self-awareness. It's very important for women.
To be as I am.
Okay.
Irrespective of whatever consequence it is. I'm fitting it, I'm not fitting, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I can't change myself.
Thank you, ma'am. What is your inspiration? Who was your inspiration? Did you have any inspiration? Or did somebody inspired you?
See, over the years, people have changed. In my childhood, my aunt was because she was, that is my bua, my father's sister. She was a PhD and a principal of a boarding school. And my uncle, who was a terror, used to be afraid of her.
Okay.
So I said, being a teacher is the best, so the terrorism is afraid of you.
Okay.
So if I am a teacher, then everybody will be afraid of me, which will be fine.
Okay. She was the inspiration.
She was the first one. Then, of course, my husband almost acted like my guru because he almost taught me everything. How to...
You made the right choice, ma'am. You made the right choice.
How to travel, how to buy saris, how to buy clothes, etc., etc. The third person was my PhD guide. Oh, I hated him. He was the most uncouth man in the world, but his brain was just fantastic.
Wow.
So I said, I have to not see anything else but his brain and learn from whatever is possible. For today, whatever I have learned, especially some of the tools and techniques of psychology I have learned from him, which are today my strength, my best of the strengths. Then there are, even my students have taught me a lot. They ask you questions so innocently, and yet there is a profound answer to it. So even when I talk to my students, I am open to, I don't disregard their questions. I respect whatever they ask because they teach a lot. Students also, you learn a lot.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Meena, ma'am?
My
Your
mom is my inspiration even today.
Wonderful, ma'am. They say, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava. They put mother in front of Taittiriya Upanishad. So we can relate to it, ma'am. Thank you. And ma'am, coming to you to the next question. What do you like as a woman? Shopping, cooking, nurturing, gardening, for your own self, to nurture yourself. What comes to your mind if we give you free time?
I used to love cooking, but not anymore. I don't enter the kitchen now.
Okay.
I used to love driving, but not anymore now. And I feel, being 81 and my son being 60, that the relationship and you yourself need to
Transform.
grow with the times and change with the times. Transformation is a reality, and you need to accept your age with grace.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. How about you, ma'am?
I have a lot of things.
Say few, including your dance.
Yeah, I love art.
Yeah.
I love that form of music and dance. I love cooking. I love my work. I love buying saris.
Yes.
I love
I think we
buying
can relate
saris.
too.
Okay. And many more because I love to be living.
Love to be living.
So whatever,
Very,
yes,
very,
I love
very,
to be
very, very
living.
powerful statement, ma'am. Thank you very much. Ma'am, I think paucity of time, I may have to close the thing. Do I have a time to pass the question to the audience? Is there any audience question? I don't want to steal the opportunity only with myself. So if there is any question, I'll take it up. Else, I will give my final questions to them. Yes, I think we will go ahead with my questions because the audience, I take it as a compliment. I'm asking them questions, whatever there in your mind. So you are leaving the job to me to ask the questions to them. Thank you so much, Dr. Indra ma'am. Now there are many people, there are different walks of life, different economic backgrounds, different ambitions, different struggles, different challenges, different opportunities. Yes, problem is others, problem with others. That lot of things you have given. One line advice they should be mindful of in their life journey, in their career journey, in their social life. What is that advice from your side?
You know, God offers you a choice at one point of time. Either you take it or you miss it. So you must be sensitive what is being offered to you and have the sensitivity to see it as an offering from the God and take it and not miss it.
Wonderful,
Because
ma'am.
opportunities come, life-defining moment opportunities come once and not again and again. So you must be sensitive when that opportunity is and take it.
Wonderful, ma'am. Many women miss it. I think it's a wonderful takeaway for us from this session. Dr. Meena, ma'am.
Whatever you do, do it with compassion and commitment. You cook,
Commitment.
do
yeah.
it.
Compassion
You
and commitment.
speak, do it. You work, do it. So
Wow.
whatever you do, do it with
You
real
crystallized it.
commitment and
So-
passion.
And passion. So whatever opportunity that comes in our way, we'll pledge today, we will take it up, we'll not miss it out. And when we take the opportunity, we will ensure that we will do it with commitment, compassion, and passion. Thank you so very much, my esteemed panelist, for patiently asking me, allowing me to ask questions.
Lovely question, good question.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It's my honor to get a compliment from you. Yes, ma'am. That's a real delight. Thank you very much for being a supportive audience. Thank you so very much for AIMS and SCMS for giving me this opportunity. Anyway, I'll be meeting the audience again during my panel discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your valuable insights. We have come to the culmination of section 1. So let's take a break for lunch. The next section will resume at 2:45 after the lunch break.
Today, SCMS stands tall, not just as an institution, but as the guiding light of hope and opportunity,
The session will be
shaping the
resumed
future
at
of
2:30.
countless students across the nation. In 1992, SCMS Group made a leap into future by establishing
Schools.
Like all institutions
I'm
of
honored to
SCMS.
welcome you all for today's panel discussion on AIM's perspective on women leadership.
Women in leadership bring diverse perspectives and inclusive decision making, driving innovation and fostering a more equitable workplace culture. Empowering women leaders leads to stronger organizational performance, as studies show companies with gender diverse leadership often outperform their competitors in both financial and social outcomes.
We have three guest speakers for this session. Dr. Apurva Palkar, Dr. Neelu Rometra, Dr. Amishi Arora, and the session will be moderated by Dr. Nandagopal.
Let me start by introducing our session moderator, Dr. Nandagopal. Dr. Nandagopal is a prominent figure in Indian management education, serving as president of the Association of Indian Management Schools. With a career spanning decades, he has held key administrative roles in renowned institutions and made significant contributions to the field. Dr. Nandagopal's academic journey began as an associate professor. He has served as director of PST Institute of Management, Xavier Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship, and Sri Saraswati Tyagaraja College. His leadership has been instrumental in these institutions' growth and success. Beyond his administrative roles, Dr. Nandagopal has been a driving force in shaping management education in India. His extensive experience and passion for education make him a respected figure in the academic community. It's a great privilege to have you here for today's discussion, sir.
Our first panelist is Dr. Apurva Palkar. Dr. Apurva Palkar, a visionary leader and acclaimed institution builder. Next, we have Dr. Neelu Rometra. Dr. Neelu Rometra is a distinguished academic leader in management education. Currently a Commonwealth Fellow at Lancaster University, she engages in research that promotes innovation in global education. She has been honored as a USIF Fulbright Fellow and participated in the International Visitor Leadership Program and the International Teaching Program at London Business School. As the first woman to lead an Indian Institute of Management, she served as the founding director of IIM Sirmaur, where she implemented innovative curricula and inclusive practices. In 2018, she received the First Ladies Award for her contribution. Dr. Rometra is dedicated to empowering women in leadership and continues to inspire the next generation of leaders in management education. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Our third panelist is Dr. Amishi Arora. Dr. Amishi Arora holds a doctorate in management and is currently the principal of Central Institute of Business Management Research and Development, Nagpur. She is an accomplished educator and administrator with 30 years of experience in postgraduate management education across esteemed B schools. She also holds extensive experience in designing and implementing training programs for both public and private sectors. Dr. Amishi Arora has authored 40 publications in international journals and 16 in national journals. She has been invited resource person at international and national conferences. She has published 3 books in strategy management, entrepreneurship development, and contributed to 10 chapters in edited volumes as well. Dr. Arora is an accomplished trainer in developing and working on case studies and has published 6 case studies in esteemed journals. She has 5 patents to her credit, 1 international and 4 national. She is the recipient of Women Leadership Award by Devang Mehta Foundation and Education Leader of the Year Award. She has also been the recipient of National Leadership Award and Woman Icon Award. Dr. Arora is an active member of All Indian Management Association, National Institute of Personnel Management, National Human Resource Development Network, Nagpur Chapter, Indian Commerce Association, All Indian Management Schools, Vidarbha Management Association, Association of Commerce Teachers in Maharashtra, Confederation of Indian Industries, Vidarbha Industries Association. Dr. Arora has been the founder president of National Human Resource Development Network Nagpur chapter, is currently the president of rest of Maharashtra chapter. Ma'am, we are most privileged to have you here with us on this special day.
With a great pleasure, we are inviting you all for the panel discussion.
Okay. Thank you very much for the nice introduction of all the panelists, and good afternoon to all the participants. It is always difficult, people say that after lunch it is difficult to hold the attention of the people, and I have a problem not only holding you after lunch and after powerful session of Dr. Narayani, it is difficult to manage, but still we will try to do it. I think the session is on the AIMS perspective on the women educational leadership. How AIMS looks at and how do we develop the women leaders and how do we nurture. As it was mentioned by our past president Uday Salunki and also Apurva Palkar, we at AIMS trying to nurture the women leaders, and we try to motivate them to get into the board and also at the leadership. I think as mentioned, we got 3 women presidents. We have an international association like WACSB, ACBSB and EFMD, and most of these 3 organizations, my experience is almost 40% of them headed by the women professors, deans of the business school. In India, we find very difficult to get the people at the leadership position. So my first question to Dr. Apurva, what do you, interestingly, I also should mention, we have 3 distinguished people who represented at the different levels of AIMS. I think Dr. Apurva Palke has mentioned, she was the founder, Vice Chancellor of the Maharashtra Skill Development University, and we also have who was the Dr. Neelu, who was a board member, and also she was the first women director of Indian Staff Management. After establishment of IIM, almost 40 years, after 40 years, we found one woman who took as the director of IIM. Then subsequently we have now today we have few of the IIM directors, and interestingly IIT also now have a women director. So that way the national institutions are having women leaders, started having women leadership, and we are happy that Dr. Neelu, who was the first women director of IIM and also the board member of the AIMS, is here. And third, we have Dr. Amshi. She is also the chairperson of the Maharashtra, rest of Maharashtra chapter of the AIMS. So we have 3 people. One was a past president, one was a board member, and one is the chapter chair. I want their perspective, what AIMS should do, bring more leadership within the AIMS first. Starting with our past president.
Thank you, Nandgopalji, for that elaborate description of what we stand for in this particular panel. I sincerely feel that there are a lot of women directors today in business schools. There's no dearth of women who are at the helm of the affairs nationally, be it South, be it West, because South and West have been very, very prominently represented in AIMS. Yes. And of course, we're trying very hard for North as well as East. Having said this, when we have so many women directors, I feel that the ownership lies with the association, chapters, as well as with the regional vice presidents, which we've been talking about in our boards as well, as to how do we motivate them to come through the chapters, because our process is very simple. I don't know how many people are aware of the fact that generally the way or the route to come into aims, which we generally, some people have there have been shortcuts for people, but basically it is through the chapters that we get into the chapter chairmanship or maybe a treasurer kind of a position and other positions in the chapters. From there to the board, where board member or a regional vice president, or at a national level where one could become a treasurer and then finally get into to the helm of the fair. But let me tell you what motivates people to come into this. So for me, the trigger, I will also explain how I got into AIMS and why I got into AIMS. This was in 2010, where the notification came by AICTE, where the autonomy got challenged on 5 parameters. And that time I was in a private business school with the promoter, where everything was at stake. And when everything is at stake, suddenly you realize that you can't fight this alone yourself. And I think that was the time where Indu's father-in-law, I also got connected to him. We met up with a lot of people who have spent their lifetimes for the cause of others. So it is very important for women to get motivated to work for the community at large, not just work in their own helms of the affairs. So probably these motivations sometimes are driven by the circumstances, but we could also do it in a structured manner, what we call it as a design thinking. So the possibility of doing so through the chapters, the possibility of doing so at the regional level and at the board level, if we can do a constructive road plan as to how do we motivate these women to come inside and start contributing. And I'm very sure that the women, once they come in, their contributions are very, very strong and very, very significant. And the moment you get in and then you start seeing the result, and it so happened that when we went and met the minister in the state of Maharashtra for our problem, that then minister told us that the only way forward for you is to go and have a court case. So this was told to us by the officials of the government itself. And this is where I realized, oh, it's important for us to be in these spaces as well. Probably
I think, Dr. Neelu, I still remember you got the Best Young Teacher Award, first Women Young Teacher Award from the AIMS Ramsamy Iyer Award. Okay, after that you joined board. And of course, after that we could not continue your participation in the board. I don't know the reasons, but still, as a person who was in the board and also participated in our competitions, how do we motivate more number of people to come and participate in AIMS competitions and also get into the board? What do you think AIMS should do?
So thank you very much. Namaskar and very good afternoon to everyone. And in the first place, thank you to Dr. Indu and Apurvaji for thinking of me that I could come back after a long span. I was kind of disconnected by virtue of the fact that I was into bigger roles and I did not have the opportunity to look here and there. But now that I was invited, it was connected with women and the academic leadership, and I just thought, yes, would be a good opportunity to touch back again and do something different this time. As an opportunity, as you have said, that I have been the recipient of Best Teachers Award as back as 2007. I was selected as the Best Teacher Award, AIMS Best Teacher Award in the year 2007. And I received this award at IIM Kolkata. And S. Chandrasekhar was the IIM director then. And that's how I got associated with AIMS. So as a faculty member who was promoted to as a faculty member of the Business School, University of Jammu, where I am serving since June 1, 1989 as the permanent faculty. This is my 36th year in University of Jammu as a faculty member in management studies. So I had been promoted in the year March 2005 as the full professor. And just as the competition came in, and I was associated with the bodies like AMDISA, I was knowing people in my area. I belong to OB and HR thing. But then suddenly I came across a competition called for the Best Teacher Award, AIMS Best Teacher Award. Nowadays we have added few more things. So I just thought that let me put my papers in, and out of curiosity as to test my credentials, possibly. You never know what's inside you, and you keep working all your life. Already about till 2007, many years I had put in. So I applied, and to my surprise, I was selected for the award, for which I was invited, and my husband also accompanied me, and Kolkata then hosted me for 3 days, and that was a memorable moment for me. Then I thought that it was an association wherein somebody acknowledged my contributions as a person without any connections. I was not at all connected to anyone, and it was a transparent system, and the understanding of the applications based on the credentials and the things, which built confidence in me that this is an association which stands for integrity and transparency. That echoed itself, and when I got an opportunity to be the Director Business School in my university from 2009 to 2012, so I steered the exercise to become, University of Jammu became the institutional member for the AIMS. So my journey with the AIMS has been very, very pleasant. To this day, that when in between I was the regional, I happened to be North India representative on the executive board or something like that, and also attended the meetings of those. It's very encouraging for me as a person and as a woman to say it on this platform that sometimes certain things happen as an opportunity to you. And as somebody said in the morning that opportunity knocks the door not many times. So 2007 to this 2024, when I have again thought that I could connect myself, now I have an add-on experience in terms of being the director of an IIM. And believe me, sir, the journey to set up an IIM in the country as premier institution in the country, those 5 years have been tremendously challenging for me when I had to set up a premier institution right from scratch, making buildings and everything. But let me put it this way, that AIMS has a potential to identify the potential candidates as women who can represent the caliber and represent the ability to motivate others. And they can be brought into the streamline of AIMS, and through them they can actually play the role of change agents and help other women to steer that exercise, to bring them, and we can actually help besides motivating, promote people and encourage people to come forward and do it. What I understand about women, as being a woman myself, women are their own enemies. I always put it this way. We always underestimate ourselves in terms of what actually we can deliver and contribute, and we have inhibitions by virtue of the fact that some social setups, some socio-political setups are not in such a conducive place for us that we actually recede. I think culturally, politically, and economically as well, there is a need to bring about some kind of policy in AIMS itself, whereby you can actually identify the talent existing. As I understand, you currently have the policy that only directors can be on the boards, or only the women who are directors, they can be the board members having some position. But to me, if you identify a person who, by virtue of the fact, is not even a director or a dean, but has a potential as an influencer, such women should also be encouraged to be part of the board members, because leadership is not just about holding authority in being in a position. Leadership is by virtue of the fact that how the masses are able to connect to you. I am, being a teacher, I can say it for sure, that the students respect you more if you are a good teacher rather than by virtue of the fact that if you are a good director. So we have to understand that if we are really interested to showcase that some major transformation happens, it's not just about holding a position of authority and then you are able to influence. There are other ways to bring in those kind of women who may not be interested or have done quite a bit in terms of positions and authority, but still have a flair for paying back. For example, if I'm here today in Cochin and I traveled 12 hours yesterday to be here to be talking to this school of business, for example, it is my inner desire to talk about it, that how did I do as a woman who got married at 20 years, and today I have been the director of an IM. In 60 years of history of this country, I was the first woman to be selected to that seat. So there's a lot which I can tell, groom about in modest and in a very, very humble way. So it's not about talking about yourself, it's about that whatever life has given you as a struggle. So let's clear that path for the younger generation as women. Those, the stories which we say on these platforms can be a stepping stone to clear that, dust, or to clear that mist, and help the younger women sitting here to say, you can do it actually. If I could do, there's nothing special about me. The only thing special about me, which I look at myself as a person, is that I never thought that anything was impossible. And I dared, being from a university setup also, I thought to be a director of an IM. And I faced that competition and I got selected with 9 other directors of IM Bangalore, Trichy or this or that. 9 directors were appointed in the country on 10th February 2017 by ACC and headed by the Prime Minister of this country. And I was one amongst them. It was a news to me also that I'm the first woman ever. So therefore, in short, what I'm trying to say, AIMS as a body has a bigger role to play, and time has arrived that we think beyond that whether a woman is a director or a dean. I think it's a orientation you can switch over to, that those who have already been there and have achieved something in their lives, you can nominate such women onto your boards and your bodies and use them as influencers and to talk about things, the struggles, the challenges, and the good things also. I said I believe in fairness and integrity, and I totally believe in the system that the best comes to you. But that belief, to keep it on going, I think these bodies have a big role to play. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we will take your suggestion seriously, but we have a provision that anybody can be invited as a special invitee and co-opted member.
I think we have an answer.
Oh,
here. There is an option. So someone who has been at the helm of the affairs, they can always be a co-opted member. So you can always come in as a co-opted member. So that's a possibility in the board. It will all depend on the president, but this is possible.
Yeah. Dr. Amishi, I think you are the first regional, chapter head in the AIMS, history of the AIMS. What do you think, how do we get the women directors, deans, heads of departments into the different levels of the organization?
Thank you, Dr. Natgopal, and starting with thanking the host also here. I want to welcome once again to the audience here. It was a challenge when the opportunity was given, but the opportunity was God sent. And here, like Dr. Palkar was advocating to, or rather giving the credit to Dr. Uday Salunke for her entry and for her growth career, I would like to give credit to Dr. Palkar over here, because it was she who pushed me into it, and I realized that I'm not the only one. Early in the day, she was talking about how she has helped a few women who had taken that break, and who are, she had facilitated them with flexi working hours and all, so that they could come back in the mainstream and feel part of the system once again. So that was one very strong motivating factor. So I give my credit to her, and she's otherwise also very inspiring. So she's my role model also. So the same thing, if we advocate at chapter levels and inspire in a similar manner all the other women directors over there. There aren't many. There's just another one over there. They are all male dominated in our region. But in my team, we had Dr. Preeti Kulkarni, who was from Nasik. She is doing very well, and she also contributed very strongly for the chapter growth as well. So, taking inspiration, taking people as role models and emulating them in their, following their footsteps, and also being a role model to the others, aspiring women directors, faculties who can think of taking up leadership roles as heads of the B schools there in rest of Maharashtra. So not only just the women in the teaching fraternity, but also the students. So the students can learn from such role models, both girls and boys. So boys also start understanding the contribution of females in this field, and they pave the way for their growth as well. So they have a responsibility in giving equal opportunities as well. So this is something which has to be imbibed from the student level itself, not just when you come to the positions. So once, the society, the younger generation understands that equal opportunity has to be given, the girls understand that they can aspire, they can dream, they can take up position, they can contribute well, and have a very supportive ecosystem. That is the need of the hour. And I think that will pave the way for more women leaders to build up their careers, to contribute again to the society in the coming years.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. See, today I just looked at some data from AICT and also Ministry of Education. From the data, what I found was today, of not only in higher education, even the primary and different levels of education also, more than 65% are the women teachers. And interestingly, I think all of you mentioned, I think Abhurvaji mentioned, we are less than 5% in the top leadership, vice chancellors, directors, and other things. And most of them are in the middle level. Why they are not moving to the senior level? Because they go to the heads of department, dean, something like that. Beyond that, they are not moving. So what do you think AIM should do to make them to move to the directors or dean level? So they should not end up with the middle level career. That's what from the data it shows that. So maybe to start with Abhurvaji, what should the AIMS contribute or should do to make them to go to the highest level?
So when we speak of academia, academia is a very tricky story. I'm not sure it's of interest to the students. But if you look at, now in the public university system, where we're working in the public university system, and even in the other institutions, the position of a professor is equivalent to the salary, from the salary perspective, equivalent to a director. So a lot of times women tend to think, I would not want to take up this whole responsibility. I've observed this even in the University of Pune, where there was so much of a reluctance to even take headships, because no one wants to take up the responsibility, not because of the fact that women don't want to do it, because of the three things that I mentioned in the morning. the additional responsibilities that are shouldered on women, which is which we typically call it as the mid-career crisis. So mid-career crisis is the time where your family, where your kids are growing up, and this is a decision that a mother has to take, whether I spend my time with my child who is in standard 10th and 12th, because they are the makers and breakers in India, unfortunately. So that is where you need a little push, and I think as Association of Indian Management Schools, if we can plead to maybe the promoters and maybe some of the decision makers through a policy framework. This is a shift and a change that we have to bring in the policy framework. And as Association of Indian Management School, we should write a white paper on this and try and present it to the Ministry of Education, where COVID has actually taught us the flexibility of on and off working, etc., etc. But I think as association, it may be a good idea for all of us to present this with a lot of statistics and data. But I'm not sure whether we're going to be taking up the other areas. I wanted to, these kids, we have to address one small thing, because we were on the subject of aims. I tell you, when Dr. Neelu was talking about her presence as the best teacher, I think this is an appeal to everyone sitting in this room. We have our forthcoming convention. I'm not here to be the mouthpiece of aims, but I can't stop myself to talk about aims when given a platform. But I think here is an opportunity for entry level for everyone sitting in this room to participate in events in Association of Indian Management School, and at national level get a prize money for it. And that prize is what people talk about in their profiles. I will give you an example of a faculty member that I knew has now become the dean of a business school in Bombay. And this boy, I have seen him 8 years back in a competition. It was an innovation competition which I have been taking forward for a very long time. And I found that the presentation of this boy and the team of students who were with him was exceptionally brilliant. And he met up with who's who there, and probably the journey for him started from a small-time business school in some Timbuktu place in Borivali to the movement to Bandra in a span of about 4 to 5 years. The point that I'm trying to make here is that aims could really be looked at a place for people to kind of make an entry point for your profiles and for your CVs. And aims has come to the doorsteps in Cochin, in Kerala, for everyone. For institutions who may want to take membership, for the institutions who may want to showcase your talent at a national level. I think competition is the best way to showcase your talent. It is an appeal to everyone sitting in this room. Kindly do this. Even in next 2 months, we have a convention coming up in the month of December, and we would like to have more number of people, more number of entries from all of you to participate in multiple things, so that we make vibrancy for the students, for the faculties, for mid-level career people. Probably this could also be a motivation for people to go up in the ladder. I am not sure whether Neelu got motivated by the fact that she's the best teacher, which motivated her to go to the next level and go to the next level. I'm not sure. Maybe 5% role aims also played in her life. Probably it would have happened. So I'm sure we could take it forward.
I just want to add one story here. I think Dr. Neelu was telling when she got the Best Teacher Award, how she got inspired and got into the aims and moved to the next level. As he said, in the history, after the 60 years of establishment IIM, she was the first woman to be appointed as a director. So that again, aims directly or indirectly has given a platform for her. And she also, Aburvaji also narrated the story. I think here we have a lot of students here. I wanted to share one of the experience or a story. I am associated with Saraswati Tyagaraja College for the last 3 years. 2 years back, we asked some of the students to prepare a paper and send it to the competition. that was the best practices of the innovation and best practices, students' perspective. So two girl students prepared the paper, and they were shortlisted for the presentation, and believe it or not, the two students first time they went into the train, because they never got an opportunity to travel in the train, and first time they crossed Tamil Nadu. Okay, they went to the convention, there students from the different parts of the country were there, and they made a presentation. I think initially they were struggling to speak in English, and fortunately Aburvaji was the jury. She said, "Don't worry, we understand Tamil, you speak in Tamil." And the girl spoke so confidently, and she was impressed. Even I didn't believe that she gave a gold medal for the students. So the women girl student, and that girl never thought that she will take up a job. That competition, winning that and gained the confidence, now she is working as a HR consultant in Bangalore. She would have never expected in his life to get into a job and HR consultant at Bangalore. Now look at, now 60,000 rupees per month she was earning a few years back. I mean, now I don't know what is her salary. Thanks to Aburvaji. That's what I think, as she said, AIMS gives a platform not only faculty members, to the students also. Again, we request this time more entries to participate in the student paper contest and innovation contest. I hope our Indu madam will take it up, and I expect more nominations this time to come from SCMS, and especially women. We want to motivate them to come and participate. Thank you, Aburvaji, to encouraging the students, women students, girl students also in the competition. I think next, my question to Neelu madam. See, again, from the statistics, what we found and we experience also in any institution, whether it's higher education or in a school education, if you look at the top rank always goes to the girl students. More than, if you take top 100, almost 75-80%, whether it's a medical entrance exam or MBA entrance exam, even CAT exam, I saw the data, more number of students are clearing, and even when they get into the institutions also, they do very well. For example, today, again, AICT data gives more than almost around 50% are the girl students studying MBA. And some of the institutions, IMs, I saw one or two IMs, they crossed 50% because the CAT exam. They score very well in the CAT exam, and Zyme, I was told last year, more than 55% students are from girls. So they do very well in academic. They join a good job. But again, the same issue is they don't cross the middle level. So what you think as a aim should develop students? How do we motivate the students, or how do we encourage young women managers who join the career to go to the next level? What should be the AIM's role?
Let me put it this way, that while I was looking at the data, and also everyone knows that the percentage of women students who join MBA courses once upon a time was very, very less as compared to the boys. And over the period of time, this percentage has shown improvement, in the sense that diversity which we talk about in the management institutions in terms of class participation, call it disciplinary diversity or the gender diversity, it has improved over the years, and every institution and even the government has actually facilitated the entire process. I give you an example of while I was in the seat as director, IIMS Sirmaur, Himachal Pradesh. When I joined the institution, it was just one girl student in the course, the MBA course, and the rest all were boys. And the ministry was actually interested, and they actually thought that it is important to improve the percentage of women, and all IIMs, they were requested that we must come up with the policy documents whereby we can promote the participation of, or we can enroll more and more girl students. And in fact, all IIMs in the country, 20 of them, they devised policies which were pro-women. And the supernumerary quotas were created, and special drives were done to promote the participation and the seats which go to the women students. And today, as a policy, throughout these institutions, we have that set up wherein the special drives or the special considerations are there to promote the participation or to encourage women to come forward and enroll themselves for the business management courses. Now, the point which I am trying to emphasize here is that we have, to the best of my understanding, different kind of institutions which are offering MBA or the business related courses, and that set includes the private sector which are affiliated to the some state universities and all that. We have departments in the as management departments in the universities, and we have standalone the premier institutions in the country which shall we say they are IIMs, and most of the private sector institutions, they need the approval of AICT and other regulatory bodies, even if they are affiliated to some state universities and so on and so forth. The kind of promotion that this area, the question that you asked, that how we can promote women and what is the role of AIMS in that, is that we can also have the same kind set of exercises at the level of AIMS as well. We can have special kind of scholarships. I did in my institution. We instituted some special scholarship schemes for women students. We can have separate set of competitions maybe for women girl students, so that at least they apply, and it will be inter-se competition within girls only. When it is an inter-se competition, at least if we are having applications, let's say 20, 30, 40, and 10 of them are shortlisted to visit the AIMS conferences or the events like this, they will have that influence in terms of exposure, and they will see the world around. As you said, the two girls you invited, they had never even sat in a train. So maybe those special type of schemes at the level of AIMS in terms of scholarships, financial support, or the institutions which are your members, they can be asked to create that set of segment, especially for girl students, that you have some special scholarships. For example, if a girl is a topper, waive off the second year tuition fee, or by 10%, 20%, 50%, whatever is feasible in economical terms as well. But certainly, yes, as association, as bodies, if you really want that the girls should be promoted, and they come from different backgrounds, different considerations, different pressures, I would say. The pressures on the mind of a girl living in India, I can vouch, belonging to the top family or the consideration is immense. We grow, but we are all the time guilty, made to feel guilty about certain things. Right? It's very easy to say it's your problem, not my problem. I do it very often and say it's your problem, it's not my problem. But as a person, when we conduct ourselves, when we relate, when we build relationships, believing and saying it's your problem and it's not my problem happens. But at the back of mind, that feeling of guilt that we were not cordial at that particular point of time, or maybe we were not able to look after the other segment, is very, very high, sir. So the world has changed, the times have changed, but the societal pressure, the family pressure, the thinking patterns of our families as parents, as surroundings, as neighborhood, as colleagues in the institutions still has to grow. And that pressure is seen. I think as a body, special schemes, special policies, special segments can be created just for the management students who are the students enrolled in different programs in different institutions, and those institutions who are your members. They can come forward and create some kind of a hand holding and create that sense of exposure and that sense of ambition. Basically, the ambition is there, but it is only to kick off. कोई भी व्यक्ति यहाँ जो लड़की बैठी होगी वो इसीलिए यहाँ बैठी है कि कुछ सीख ले, कहीं पहुँच जाए. Ambition अंदर है. The only thing we need to create through these institutions who are your members would be to handle them, to promote them, थोड़ा exposure दीजिए जिससे so that that trigger can happen and that ambition can be given a platform. एक उड़ान भरने के लिए एक platform create करना संस्थाओं का ही फर्ज है. Individual अकेले कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा, but these platforms must be provided and given by the institutions because they are big. There's no harm in trying this portfolio. So even if 10 women are affected, 10 students come forward and decide, no, I will decide when I will get married. I will decide what will happen to me in my life. The rest of the mindset automatically changes. It's only facilitation that these institutions through your association they can actually do. So some kind of special thinking is involved in this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Neelu. Now we are running short of time. I think I want each one of them to answer a personal question. Okay, how do you feel when you are appointed as the director? I think Amishi. How did you felt when you were appointed as the director?
Sir, to me it was a very pleasant surprise because I had not anticipated. I began very early in life. My career as a director in my own institute began, I got that opportunity when I was 38. So in Nagpur University, I was the youngest director and not many people thought I was capable or would be able to take care. And believe me, at that time, I really did not understand much also. To be very honest, I did not even know the A of administration. But I had to take on the responsibility. It was kind of thrusted upon me as an officiating director initially, and that was the time when I learned. So it wasn't very easy, it was very difficult. There were very, very difficult times, some very challenging times. The key people who knew left the job, and I had to manage on my own, and I was faced with, as soon as I joined, I was faced with committees who came for inspections and all. But we survived, and later on we did well. We emerged very well out of it. And I think the only way we were able to survive and do well was by thinking a little different. Now, all others were, with due respect to them, were in the senior age who were, the typical stereotype methods were being carried out. And being younger, I think that was an asset at that time. I was able to relate better with the students. So I took some inputs from them, from my colleagues, and we did some things which were totally out of the box, which were different. And people did not venture out of their own boxes at that time, which we did, and that made us move ahead. So it was a wonderful experience, very difficult, very challenging, but today I'm very happy with all what I've gained. It has been an enriching experience and very, very rewarding.
Thank you. I think in the history of IIMs, you are the first women director. If I am not wrong, you must be one of the younger directors also. Okay. Now, what was your emotional feeling when you were appointed as the first women director of IIM?
Sir, I joined my services as faculty in University of Jammu at the age of 22. I was a faculty member at the age of 22, and my students were many times elder to me in age as well. So, as I would put it, I was I am a very bold and a witty person. So, अगर निकल जाए तो हाथी भी निकल जाए, अगर पकड़ लूँ तो पूँछ भी पकड़ लेती हूँ. So I have that kind of a feeling कि निकाल दिया तो हाथी भी निकाल दिया, लेकिन अगर पकड़ा तो पूँछ पकड़ी गई तो बचेगा नहीं. So for about 28 years I was with my university before I moved to IIM. So those 28 years I have been with my university. I had already served my tenure as the director business school. I had already been the dean students placement, and before joining as a director, I was the rector for 2 of my campuses of my university. So we have 7 campuses. So I was already rector for 2 of my campuses in my university for 5 years, and I also established one center on the analogy of center in Oxford, UK, in my university, which is the only first and the only of its kind international center for cross-cultural research and human resource management, which I built from zero, from a certificate program to a PhD program, just like any other institution. And for the rector, when I was a rector for my 2 campuses, I actually had the experience of setting up buildings, land acquisition and everything. So before I became a director of an IM, I had a store of experience which was administrative, academic and everything. So I was full with the confidence. Okay. I felt very happy to be the director of an IM, but sad at the same time because I had to leave my home for 5 years. I did not socialize for those 5 years anyway. Believe you me, that I was totally disconnected socially from my family, from my colleagues. I did not visit my university for 5 years. I would only come on somewhere Friday and move on Sundays. So 5 साल पूरा मैंने तपस्या किया, totally disconnected from family.
And also aims also.
And I lived alone. and I lived alone. My husband was in Jammu only.
Jammu.
And 5 years I left everything backwards and lived all alone for 5 years just to see to it that the responsibility that I have been assigned as a duty, I must deliver, because I felt कि मैं पहली women director तो बनाई गई, पर मेरे बाद जितनी women director और बननी चाहिए, if I do well, only then the rest, the assignments will go to other. And after me, believe me, after me, there have been more and more women. I'm Calcutta got a women director. I'm Lucknow has got a women director. I'm Bodh Gaya got a women director. So if I wouldn't have done well, so I'm sure government would not have thought to install them as well. Because I did well, so I paved a way for the entire country that the government could think that we can have more and women. So they do it as a policy, I understand. Like we are talking to bring in more and more women. I'm not saying I was the best, but I was the most suitable. That's how. So I felt very nice, but at the same time, it was a mixed feeling, because those 5 years, I did not know. मेरी कोई dress sense नहीं था, मेरी कोई social sense नहीं था. The only sense I had was on day-to-day basis how to set up a campus which had a budget of 792 crores in 2 phases. I managed those funds effectively, 210 acres of land, the ownership of land in the name of 3-4 cabinet approvals from the state government. So there were huge tasks which did not allow me to think even once that I need to go back home. So everything is possible. Have an ambition. एक ऊंची उड़ान भरने का ख्वाब ज़रूर देखिएगा, because you have just one life. And this life must be lived to the fullest. जो दिल में आए करिए, भगवान साथ देता है. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil. I think we could see the passion you had building up the IM. And I think last question to Aburva ji. I think our Prime Minister is very fond of skill development. And Maharashtra is the first state started the skill university. And you are the first women Vice Chancellor of the skill university in India. And also we have seen in the inaugural session, Modi ji was referring about you. What you felt and how you are developing your skill universities? Now you are named Skill University, Ratan Tata name. I think we should give a big applause, because the first state government and first university, Dr. Aburva ji taken initiative to name the university after Ratan Tata. Thank you.
So it was a very touching moment for me to have gotten to this university. Fortunately or unfortunately, as you're aware, that we all keep trying for higher positions. And there are roughly about 4 universities where I was selected in the top 5, you know, when you go directly to meet the Honorable Governor for the final selection. I know we are live and we are online. Everyone will be watching it. But for reasons which I cannot quote here, which is again to do with my femininity, that some of the positions were not given. And finally it was decided or discussed with me that we feel that Skills University is the university that you should be leading. And to my surprise, this was a nomination that was conferred on me, and it was not by selection, but, and there was change of 2 governments. The first government put my file, and the second government actually took out the letter of my appointment. So I felt really moved that it is purely on the basis of my professional qualifications that I got in here. So the ownership was really very, very high. With all the constraints that Dr. Neelu spoke, I had a clean slate with myself being the first employee of the university. And when I went in, like unlike any other university where there are a lot of people to welcome you, salam thokne ke liye, I had nobody, not even a peon with me when I went and joined the university. But this is how my life has been, and every job that I've taken in the past, starting with my lecturership to my first directorship, to my getting into Pune University to set up the Startup Innovation Incubation Center as the first innovation director, to being into this role, everywhere it was a startup. In every place that I went in. Even the corporate stint that I had for 4 years was also setting up of a corporate university. So from that all perspective, I feel that God has sent me here to set up something which is new, different, and risk-taking. So as Nandgopalji asked me a very brilliant question, what is my vision for the university? The first question that I have to keep answering everyone, first question and only question asked to me by everybody is, how is your Skills University different from a traditional university? So there was a huge task for us in terms of developing the courses, programs, thanks to NEP and thanks to the skill development department where NCR, and they have come out with all guidelines for the Skills University. I think I'm fortunate that I've taken Skills University to certain heights in a span of 2 years by not really waiting for my campus to come by, not waiting for the full-time faculties to come by. I have quickly rolled out 7 professors of practice from the industry, quickly taken contractual faculties, quickly built my organization, everything that she spoke of, cabinet decisions, taking everything, getting it to the high power committee, getting all your positions sanctioned. What we speak in a business school class is what in the leadership class, strategy class, what we've been speaking is when you start experiencing it, is where you realize, oh my God, I was teaching all this, but this I have to do it myself. It's very different, you know, and especially if it is not a private promoter, but you have to deal with the government, is very, very different because there are stakeholders and you have to convince every stakeholder what you are doing and why are you doing. Suddenly there are questions in the sessions about you, you have to answer that. So everything that you do, you're under a scanner, which is very different from working as a director of an institution, small institution or big institution, or a promoter-driven institution. So I think it has been a huge learning for me in last 2 years, and I'm thankful to God that God decided that I should do the most difficult job under the sun in the state of Maharashtra. And the biggest icing on the cake was Friday I was in Delhi, and when our skills secretary was taking some kind of a presentation from us, he said that there are 5 states, 6 states who have started the Skills University, but I think the way in which you've grown in 2 years, we don't see this growth anywhere else. Just these 2-3 statements, or Honorable Prime Minister speaking about, these are the only motivations in our lives which keep us going with all the stresses that I have, the sugar levels that have gone up, and I don't know whether I will live long to see the future, but this is the happiness and satisfaction that I will take at the end of my tenure. Thank you, Nangopal ji, for asking me a very personal question, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Apurva. God believes that right person for the right job. So maybe he kept the right job for you. Okay, I think we enjoyed the session. I think the three of them gave a different perspective. All three of them are the first director or first director of IIM or first vice chancellor of the Skill University. I am thankful to all the three panelists for responding to my questions and also increasing the knowledge of all the participants. Once again, I thank you, and I request Indu Madam to bring more leaders to AIMS fold. Being a board member, now we have Beena is here and Narayani is there. I think we should bring them to the board also at the different levels in the different occasions. Thank you very much. Yeah. She talked to me. And also we should bring Neelu back to AIMS. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
We have come to the end of second session. I did like to sincerely thank the esteemed panel for such an insightful and engaging discussion. Your perspectives have truly enriched our understanding, and it's been an absolute privilege to be part of this conversation. Thank you.
Before you end the session, I want to ask how many students are going to participate in the competition this year? Can I have some hands up? Okay, only 2 hands came up with so. We need more, at least 50%. And you have an opportunity to come to Delhi, Meerut. Please do come. Yes. I'm excited and I'll be very happy to see you there in the competition.
As a token of appreciation, we request Dr. Nandagopal sir and Dr. Apurva ma'am to hand over the mementos to Dr. Neelu Rometra and Dr. Amishi Arora.
As a token of appreciation, we request Dr. Indu Nair to hand over memento to Dr. Nandagopal and Dr. Apurva Palkar.
We are proceeding to the session 3 on emerging leadership models for women in academia, business school leaders' perspective. Emerging leadership models for women in academia emphasizes collaborative decision making, mentorship, and a more inclusive approach to leadership, which is reshaping the dynamics in educational institutions.
We are honored to have Dr. Nagaraj Shenoy as the moderator, and the speakers of the session is Professor Dr. Narayani R., Dr. T. Beena, and Dr. Amishi Arora.
To lead the discussion, we have Dr. Nagaraj Shenoy. Dr. Nagaraj Shenoy is an accomplished educator with over 25 years of experience in engineering and management colleges, teaching both BE and MBA students. A civil engineering graduate, he spent 6 years in the construction of mega industrial structures before earning 2 doctorate degrees in management. Dr. Shenoy is a fellow of the Institution of Engineering and the Center for Education Growth and Research. He has authored key texts such as Management Information System and Statistics for Management, and his insights have been featured in various educational publications. As a NAC peer team member, he played a vital role in college assessment and accreditation across the country. In 2018, he received the Nadaprabhu Kempagowda Award for his contribution to education. His book, My Dear Students, published in 2021, emphasized student mentoring, reflecting his commitment to guiding over 5,000 students towards success. He is presently the director of SCMS Cochin. It's a pleasure to have you with us today, sir.
Our first panelist is Professor Dr. Narayani R.
Done the introduction, so it's fine. They know me now as a moderator of AIM session. Dr. T. Beena. That's humble of you.
Dr. T. Beena is the director of Happy Valley Business School in Coimbatore, which she co-founded in 2007 as the first B school under Anna University. With 26 years of experience, she holds a PhD in management and has been certified in entrepreneurship by IIM Bangalore. She teaches marketing and data analytics, has published extensively, and serves on doctoral committees. Notably, she received the Achievers Award from the Rotary Club in 2020, the Outstanding Leader in Higher Education Award in 2022 and was named a Top 50 Global Awardee in 2023. Active in community service, she is the District Secretary for the Rotary Club of Coimbatore and leads the Adhya initiative to empower women and solo entrepreneurs. We are honored to have you for today's discussion, ma'am.
A very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the last session of the day and the most important session of the day. Long back in Karnataka, in my younger days, we heard one slogan there, because in those days, in Karnataka, this literacy campaign was going on, complete literacy. So the people's reluctance to join their daughters for the schools was a major issue. So at that time, they came up with a slogan called Hennondu Kalitare Shalayondu Teredante. What it means is, if at all you are giving education to a girl child, it is like opening a school. So coming from that era, today I am here having an interaction with education leaders, women leaders in the schools. So to have this interesting discussion, we have today 3 iconic women leaders of business schools. I am very happy to have this one here. To cut short all that, again what we believe that is a Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our Prime Minister Modi is one of the greatest vision it is. To become Atmanirbhara, it is not possible unless women are taking equal part in each and every area. So in that direction, again, one question to all the panelists is, being a leader, especially for women, is not that easy job. Many times the society doesn't accept you as easily as they are accepted by the men. As I remember one of the incident there in Karnataka, which all of you might be aware, the Biocon founder, Kiran Majumdar Shah, when she applied for a loan for starting her venture, it was denied for the only reason that she is a woman. Because woman being successful in a leadership role is not that easy, and it is almost like impossible, so that's why they ruled out. So being in that condition, my question to all of you is, how was your journey in the line of this leadership? Each one of you.
I would first pass the question to Dr. Beena, because you heard both of us. So you need to hear more from her.
Yeah.
So I'll take the question later.
Yeah.
Yes, over to you, Dr. Beena. Here.
Oh. You can exchange mics.
So this is one sign of a great leader, passing it on to the other person. So nice of you, Dr. Narayani. When does your classes end for the day, usually? Oh my God.
No, up to 5 o'clock. 5
o'clock.
o'clock. Yeah, I am here.
The director decides.
Because I am the director, so that's it.
The problem when you have teachers here is that, even if it is the last hour, I want everybody to listen to whatever we have to say, even if it is the most boring session.
Yeah.
So what do you say? What do you say? The girls as such will be observant, but what about the boys at the back? Difficult? This is what happens when you have men among women.
Yeah.
Anyway, so your question on the challenges, is it?
Yeah.
Or your journey?
In the journey of leadership.
Well, leadership comes later. Now, how many of you have fathers who are doctors and the children will be doctors? Lawyer fathers and mothers will want lawyer children, or the children to be lawyers. Similarly, my mother was a professor and she said the only job that is worthwhile in this world is becoming a teacher. And I hated it. So the only thing that I wanted to do was not to be a teacher, and God heard it and he said, you do not want to be something, you need to get into it. And that's how I got into it. So every one of us, being a woman here, if you ask everybody here, at what age did you get into teaching? Everybody would say 21, 22. That is, if you finished your undergraduation plus 2 years of post-graduation, you're around 21. I did my engineering, so at 22, I got into teaching because there was nothing else to do. That's the truth. And I did not like it, and I told my mother, 1 semester and I shall be off. But then what happened is, it's my 28th year now, and I'm still into teaching, and I love the job, and the children love me. And for all the 28 years, I have been, I'm not boasting, but what I'm trying to say is sometimes you get what you don't like, but then you have to love it. So my journey started there. And today also, if I am considered one of the best teachers, I'm not saying one of the best teachers, I am considered the best teacher when it comes to the ranking. The reason being, I always look at it on the other side. Whatever I did not like in a teacher in school and college, I wish not to be so. So I think my journey of a job started there, and how to be started there, and maybe because of that, the climb was easier.
Yeah.
Because you need to do what others want you to do.
Yeah.
Especially if you are a teacher. And the second thing is ownership. You know, when I got into my job, people said, you're hardly 22, 23. There were 2 men, I'm so sorry, but then 2 men who were around 40 and 50, and they thought I was their secretary. You know, a woman is always considered a secretary, and especially if you're young and beautiful, you are definitely a secretary. Okay, this is just to make you laugh, I don't feel so. Well, anyway, so they treated me as a secretary, which I thought, okay, was a God-given opportunity for me, because this is the time for me to show off.
Okay.
Okay, so I was here and there, and I was everywhere, and, you know, taking ownership of whatever you do also was the other way in which I could make myself be seen. If you want to move up your ladder, you need to be seen, you need to be heard, you need to be everywhere. And it is not easy. It is not easy. Even today, I have a day which starts at around 5:30, it ends at around 11:30. Whatever be the case, I go for a 1-hour walk. In my apartment, they call me a ghost because I walk from 9:30 to 10:30. So they say, wherever you see a ghost walking. I say, it's not for that. It's because I want to look young. I have a very selfish reason, but yet that gives me a lot of confidence.
Yes.
Now, this confidence, again, when you look at it on the other side, the man says, hey, she's not that old, so she can become a leader. You know, if I'm not going to talk to you about my age, I'm not even going to tell you what my age is, but if you know my age, you will think, no, she's too old to become a leader now. Okay, people want young leaders. So everything, if you see, is connected to a selfish motive in life. If you love yourself, if you love what you do every day, you will get wherever you want to, is my philosophy, and it has got me there. But I beg to differ here. This is a women's program. We are talking about women, but all through my life, it's men who have helped me. In all my journeys, in my departments, at home, wherever I have been, I was a lone woman.
Yeah.
So I stood out.
Nice.
And I actually saw from the shoulders of giants, they say, I saw from the shoulders of men. And therefore, I don't have the, I should not be saying that, but then I don't have the silly things of what a woman generally has or looks at. So I have the best of both.
Yeah.
I have the best of both. I was just talking to Dr. Narayani that to be a leader, see, whether you're born or made, I do not know. But we both are born in the month of August. When you're born in the month of August, you're also August. See, so most of the times, you know, when you're born in the month of August, you are a Leo. Leo is a lion. Lion is the king of the jungle. Okay? Which means king of whoever you work for. And that's how we are leaders. So sometimes it stems from our personality. We don't think I need to reach there. We will automatically reach there. So that's how I look at things. It has happened so far. I joined as a teacher. I grew up my career from an assistant professor to a senior professor. And then as luck or ill luck would have it, I became an accidental entrepreneur. For one reason again, that I did not like to work in a women's college, but which was a central government university. I gave up a central government job because I thought for the next 30 years, I cannot work with women. So I'm in a wrong place, talking about the right things, but yet that was the reason. The reason being, sometimes women are enemies to women. And if you don't do good to a woman, we will definitely meet you in hell. So that's my contention. So if I am here, it is not because of women, it is because of all the men that I have known in my life.
Yeah. Thank you. So, ma'am, you put it right, because even though you didn't like that post in the beginning, later on you served there
No,
for last
that's-
27
Yeah,
years.
that's
So,
because our teachers have never been good to us.
Yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
teachers
Yeah,
were never
understood.
good to me.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
I did not know something, they never clarified my doubt. So I took it as an opportunity
yes,
to do the reverse.
exactly. So, that's why I said that not necessary that everyone has to get a love marriage. Sometimes arranged marriage, and after that you fall in love, so then also it's a well and good. Okay, so no problem. Ma'am, quickly, you also can share your journey that in the quickest possible, because you have been heard already, but even then.
So, regarding my leadership journey or my career journey, either way you put it, just to contrast to Dr. Beena, I've been a nerd all through my school. Any competition or anything, I think I have only gold medals in my CV. Wherever I studied, I was a gold medalist. I'm a nerd, always studying, topping the state, topping the university. So naturally, and I'm also coming from an academic background, two-generation academicians. Dad is a professor in economics. So I love teaching. And after that, everybody thought I would go for chartered accountant, being a commerce student, but I was little rebellious. In the sense, I was very good in maths. Everybody wanted me to go for science, because being good in maths and state topper in the state, then you wanted to go for engineering or but I wanted to argue very well with my dad, who's an economist, so I chose to study economics. The school refused the admission because commerce is meant for not so bright students. But I chose to study finance and excel. I did my master's in finance, and I cleared my UGC exam, which was very competitive those days, and got Reserve Bank of India project when I was hardly 21 years. Then I chose teaching, and I tasted the taste of making money. I started trading in the equity market way back. There is one message I wanted to pass it through in my career life. Cut the long story short, I have 20 plus years of teaching experience, that to management education. I did my master's in finance, MBA in finance, doctorate in finance, postdoctoral again in London, which I didn't complete. One thing I wanted to pass it over, reflecting my leadership career journey, women can have it all. Don't try to balance, try to find a harmony, work, life. I am a proud mother today, same way I'm a proud career woman. But leadership role, coming to women leadership role, I took it very, very, very late in my career. Very late in my career, mainly because it was a conscious decision. And thanks to all my mentors and godfathers who helped me in deciding and crafting and bring a clarity in my priorities. You can be a mother of a 4-year-old child only at that point in time. The child doesn't need you, but you need you to be as a mother. So that kind of, I think I had the wonderful best advices or suggestions at that point in time. And one thing I should give a credit to myself, I obeyed. I disliked the suggestions. I obeyed it. I just obeyed because I thought they are godfathers. They were saying the correct thing. And I took it way back. Later now, after 10 years, I did the right thing. I could become a professor at London Business School at any point in time, even now. But I did a lot of breaks in my career, and I had to travel around the world. That enriched, I did it. I give family life as a priority. When I came back to India, after a 10-year stint in Europe, I came back to India. I started my career again. That time again it's a conscious decision not to start it with IIM Bangalore, but in a private university like NMIMS, mainly because they were giving a flexible timing, and which I wanted it. So I go to school. I'm blessed with a daughter whose tune I dance to, I would say. I go to office after she goes to school and come back before she comes back. So I did my role as consciously as a mother or a wife or a daughter or this. And at the right point in time, it might be the wrong point in time, and my daughter I was refusing any kind of administrative role in my office. I've been criticized for not taking up many of the dean's positions and associate director positions and all. But when my daughter was in 12th standard, where really she needed me, this role came, and Dr. Meena, who was the pro-vice chancellor, said, this time, Narayani, you do not say no. You must take it. And one of the reasons why I took it is my daughter. She said, Mom, I would never be happy every time you say no, 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 no. This is the time you have to prove it, and I have to prove that I can also do it. And both are flourishing thanks to her. I thought she would come for the session, but she is busy with her studies, so she couldn't make it. But I would credit to, so the learning, the credit is not only from the elders and godfathers and things, it's also from your own offspring, right, daughter. So my career journey as a leader, I would like to summarize. I think if you aspire, if you have it in you, Panchaputas, indirectly or indirectly, through someone else, when you aspire for it, you will get it. Where you get it, how you will get it, through whom you will get it, I will never think. But you have it in you. It will come to you, for sure. So believe in, you can have it all. Don't believe the story that either one will get compromised. So I never call it as work-life balance. I call it as work-life harmony. Balance means one goes up and one comes down. So call it as a harmony and learn and absorb from as many as possible. I've struggled to do the work-life balance. I used to read how eagle, you know, the eagle, how it grooms its own eaglet. You heard from Dr. Indra Parekh, how she was talking about she could have been a different mother. So this, I think for every woman will come when, because we don't get, sometimes I used to say I should have done a doctorate in parent management rather than financial management. And so I think you can absorb from so many people, so many things, and get crystallized for your own self. So my leadership journey is too young, I would say. I have a long way to go. I left to the path, and I'm still a learner. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, Dr. Amishi, the same question. For briefly, can you explain that? How was your journey? You can explain towards leadership. Being a woman again, because everyone will have their own challenges in the path. But for being a woman, very specifically, did you have any special challenges?
Yes, I
yeah,
did.
Please.
In fact, lots of them. See, I forayed into education accidentally. When all my other colleagues were preparing for interviews and all, I was preparing to get married. So I was engaged, and all I had in my mind was marriage at that time. I didn't even think of a career, you know. And after I got married, in fact, during my reception, my director had come up, and I had topped the university at that time. So he came to wish us in our marriage. And he just offhandedly said, you are coming to teach from next year, you know. This is the way he spoke, and he went off. Somewhere later, much later, 6 months down the line, when then after, you know, that initial euphoria wore off, and then I was, ab kya karna, to do something. I remembered his words, and I went up to him and I said, sir, you had mentioned, so is there any scope? He said, yes, of course, come. So I was sharing the subject which my professor was teaching me at that time, and I was nervous. But like Narayani said, and like even Beena said, you know, when you begin young, this is the advantage you get. You relate better with the students. So my forte at that time was my teaching, where I could connect with the students much better than all the senior professors which we had. You know, when you think how they would accept you, and from their perspective, you teach. So it was a welcome change at that time. And I was very happy doing what I was doing. I wasn't earning much. At that time, 33 years ago, I was just a visiting a professor in a few colleges. And you won't believe me, friends, I was only getting 150 rupees per lecture. In fact, my family would mock at me कि तुम्हारा तो प्रेस का और मेकअप का ही खर्चा नहीं निकलता होगा, पेट्रोल का खर्चा नहीं निकलता होगा, you know, what you're doing. But I was enjoying. I realized that this is exactly my cup of tea. I never anticipated that teaching would be something which I enjoyed. But when I took it up accidentally, I really started enjoying it. Money was not important. So, but then later on, I grew. And at the right time, when my younger daughter started going to school, I got this opportunity of working as a full-time teacher. Again, I was getting a consolidated amount. It was not a scale, but I began. And in a year's time, my director retired, and I was given the responsibility as an officiating director. And in that 1 year when he was a director, and it was a very small setup, we had only an intake of 60. At that time, there were no full-time faculties. One retired person was a director. I was the only full-time faculty over there, coordinating and doing all kinds of odd jobs, and 2-3 people in the office setup. So a very small setup, and I hated my director because every work he would pass on to me. And I said, ye to inka kaam hai, he's supposed to be doing it, why is he passing on to me? But it was a blessing in disguise because I didn't know, but I learned in the process. And then when I was giving the responsibility as an officiating director, I was able to handle that. I told you, I didn't even know the A of administration. But those experiences helped, and as I journeyed in my career, I learned. At that time, I asked a lot of other principals in Nagpur University, very senior people, and I knew they were mocking at me behind, talking amongst themselves. Kisko bana diya, isko kuch pata hi nahi hai, she doesn't understand anything and she's been given the responsibility. How come she's been given the responsibility? But I kept asking everyone and I learned. So one point I would like to share with all of you, always be a learner. That was one. Second, since I said we were a very small unit when we began, I was doing a lot of other jobs other than teaching. So a lot of administrative jobs also, which were basically to some extent clerical also in nature, like compliances to AICT, working for the fee regulatory authority and so on and so forth. So I learned that also. So when you are at the top and when you have worked from the grassroots level, you can have an idea what each one is doing in the areas in which you have delegated that work to them. So no one can fool you. This is second learning. Work from grassroots to reach to the top, that's a second learning. And third, in our setup, I had to do a lot of work which does not come under the purview of an academician. So a lot of other areas of work I was supposed to do, getting approvals from the municipal from the
commissioner.
And building, working with the contractor, sitting with the architect. All these areas were new to me, but I learned in the process. So I gained a 360-degree perspective, and today, thanks to all that learning, I stand strong. So there were many, many challenges. There were people mocking behind my back and, even surprised at my inexperienced state. But today, I stand strong. And I would say that all these experiences have made me grow stronger. So that was my journey. And in the kind of setup in which I am working, the challenges are many. It's an affiliated, private, unaided college where funding is a constraint, where getting good talent is a constraint, where the input which is coming, again, you have to groom them. And ours is an institution which has been chaired by political leaders. So everyone in our organization who was employed was somewhere connected to the people who were working with the political leaders. They are called karyakartas over there. So every employee working with me had a godfather. So that made, teamwork all the more difficult. So these were some of the challenges which we rode over and which we realized, and everything, the learning experience makes you strong. So that's what I would like to say. These three things which, as a leader, makes you a better leader.
Yeah, thank you. So it's somewhere Steve Jobs refers to this one as a connecting the dots. Many times in your lives, many of the journeys, you feel that it's a totally inconsequential or it's a useless. Somewhere later on you are going to connect that. That's the true in your case as well. So now my next question, common question to all of you. We are speaking about the gender inclusivity and then equal opportunities for women in especially in the leadership role, what we call is a glass ceiling and other things. And in fact, that is the intention, that's the purpose of this summit as well. So now I want to know, from all the three of you being women yourself, so you have got some higher moral responsibility, at least I assume that way, to develop this in your institution, being in the leadership role. So if you can explain me, each one of you, precisely what measures you are taking to ensure this one, gender inclusivity and equal opportunities for women in their path to become a leaders. Dr. Narayani.
Let me try to be precise. I'm coming from a place, Bangalore, where women is adequately represented, and most of the global resource centers are located in Bangalore, and most of the corporate houses talks about diversity. So this is very commonly heard term. I'm coming from one of the privileged cities in India, where women empowerment is well talked about, for that matter, to the extent of favoring women at the cost of affecting the merit of male members. To that extent, it is very popular in Karnataka, especially in Bangalore, among corporate houses, and be in business school, we hear a lot of that. And my university, which I am representing, NMIMS, Narsi Monji Institute of Management Studies, we boast around 52% of our higher education students who pay somewhere around 20 to 22 lakhs for their masters. They are women, girl children. So we are in a privileged group. So what sir's question was, coming back to his question, what steps precisely are you taking to promote inclusivity and women here? I give a lot of thought about it. So when I've taken the leadership role, now consciously for the past 3+ years, but initially when I've been a career woman all through, I do one thing for sure. I'm gender agnostic, whether male or a female or any other category nowadays. I'm gender agnostic when it comes to merit-based. I don't favor girl or a boy when it comes to marks or for a position or for a promotion today. I'm very clear about it. I don't. Doesn't mean that I'm not inclined towards women inclusivity. I'll tell you, there is one more step I take very consciously. I ensure not only male, little extra percentage for female or women employees, students, colleagues, staff members who are hesitant to come out, hesitant not to excel, hesitant, they have a fear in themselves. They think they cannot, they will not, they make it not. Such kind of women, such kind of girl children, I'll ensure I go out of my way, counsel them, coach them, spend my time and energy, be behind their back, see to that they take the risk, stay behind them as a moral support. This I do it tad better than what I do for men. Of course, I do for men also, but I ensure consciously to see to that wherever there is a potential among women, I alleviate or remove their fear in their mind, give them a confidence, come out of their own, cave, and come to the front. This I consciously do it. That way I ensure my moral responsibility is taken care of. But I will never, I consciously never promote a woman mainly because she's a woman.
Okay.
I think that is a injustice to our gender. We don't need it that way.
Yeah, it's a good idea, because instead of giving a discount in the merit,
yes,
making them more meritorious, earn that place rightfully is what you want to do that. Thanks for this inputs. Dr. Bina, I want to hear from you.
I don't have anything because it is just ditto. I do the same thing. I was wondering, oh my God, she's just doing the same thing.
Nice.
Exactly the same thing. But you know, one or two more examples. When I look after admissions, I ensure that all the 120 students who come to my school go through me. My conversion rate is 99%. Not because I say my school does this. Ultimately, every girl. When we started, we had only 2 girls out of 120. Today we have around 65 girls, which means a whopping
Nice.
60% increase. And in this, I would attribute around 50 girls joined because of me. Not for anything else again. Again, I'm not blowing my trumpet, but I'm just saying, I only ask them one question. Do you want to be in my seat? Earning the way I do, talking the way I do, living a life the way I do? Answer is obvious.
Yes.
Nobody's going to say no. So they will
Nice.
say yes. I said, then come over. They come over.
Yes.
And this is, I look at every student as my own daughter. But to be frank, I have not spent even 1% of my time. That is where we differ. I have not spent any time for my daughter or son. God knows how they grew up, what they studied. But they say, in Tamil, they say, teacher or a payam muttal. Thankfully, they were not muttals.
Yeah.
And thankfully, whatever good I have done for my children in college, that blessing has gone to my children.
I just want to steal a second here. I don't know how many of you understand Tamil. ஊரார் பிள்ளையை ஊட்டி வளர்த்தால் தன் பிள்ளை தானே வளரும். If you feed the children of the village or the city, your children will be nurtured by themselves. That's the meaning.
Yeah, exactly. So this way and that way. So thankfully, whatever I did to these children, and I have done the same thing. First, what I do is I change the appearance of students. That gives them 50% confidence, especially girls. I ensure that you dress like this, you walk like this, you talk. Talk is maybe later. Once they look at themselves in the mirror, they feel they've changed.
Exactly.
And once that personal change is there, this change will automatically happen.
Fake it to make it.
Fake it to make it, but they don't fake, it is there.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
is there.
First.
we just polish it a little. That's it.
Okay, nice. Nice inputs. Anyhow, so almost the same, but again, you are making that, your
more.
approach is different, but the whole concept is the same, making them to earn their place rightfully rather than giving them undue advantage. Thanks for the inputs. Dr. Amishi, now I want to hear from you.
Yeah. Again, a lot similar to what Dr. Narayani has said in those lines only. Fortunately, this year, the Maharashtra government announced a scheme where education for girls is free totally, but it will be funded by the government. And
Only in the government schools?
No, in private, unaided.
Private
everywhere.
also?
So complete. So this year we've had more number of female students admitted to our institute, and they far outnumbered. When I did my MBA, we were only 4 girls. Now today, I think there are only 4 to 5 boys. The rest all girls. So the balance is different now. So for all this, we have to ensure a safe campus, and government also has as a policy, so we have to comply to that. Sexual harassment committee and equal opportunity committee, all those are there, of course. But more important, the students are given an exposure and inspiring women who've made it well, they are invited, and they are at various forums, they come and share their journeys, their experiences, and students take motivation from them. But what I found was, in my staff, some of the female faculties, even though they were given the opportunity, they would not be forthcoming. So I also understood that it is because of some familial constraints. If it is, you give them all the facilities, but then, when the opportunity is made available to them, nahi, mere se nahi hoga. I have children, I have this responsibility, I have that responsibility. So that was a time when I realized that we need to go beyond our campus and also go into the homes of all these faculties. So we started, as an HR policy, we started having activities for the family of our institute, wherein the spouses and the children were involved. And in those activities where they were involved, somewhere in a subtle manner, some kind of mentoring was done, where the family could understand that the lady of the family who is working with us has a potential and has a competency. All she needs is that push and the support from the family. So, to bring them out from that shell, it was important that I involve the family, which we did. And as a process, we are a very close-knit family now, So it's like everyone is involved, everyone knows what's happening in each other's families, so we are there to commiserate with them at certain occasions, we are there to celebrate certain occasions. So that is the confidence which their family members get. And they then push these female employees to take up the opportunities. It doesn't matter, madam hai na, dekh legi, karo, you know. So that also is rewarding for me. And that gives me the confidence that yes, this is the right path, we can move on this.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for these inputs. Now, this one question for Dr. Narayani yourself. In the last another discussion, you said that your IMS is ranked second only next to IIMB in Karnataka. Quite naturally, but and it is having a strong reputation that it is fostering innovation in the management education. So with this framework, so how you are integrating this one development of women in the leadership roles in your institution, and how any this emerging technologies have helped you in this direction?
Okay. I take this question with two parts. One is how innovative framework of NMIMS education system incorporate women inclusivity. Second one is how we are using technology for women inclusion. The first part, I would say, yes, we are happy. The last 3 years, once I've taken up my leadership role, I've ensured visibility matters, either for the institution or for the individual. And I would say, Professor Dr. Nandagopal said, network, or Dr. Budai said, network is net worth. I strongly believe in it, not because the word net worth, because I'm a finance faculty, but because network matters, so visibility matters, branding matters. So I've invested a lot of time in building the brand, not only for the institution, but also for individual faculty members. So visually, we try to be content, and we try to be not very vocal about what we doing about it. We try to be humble, we try to be modest. But I think it is the context, the time frame in which we have to bring it to the front. And if you please mark these words, I've heard it in a lot of women leadership summits. If you not intentionally include yourself, you unintentionally exclude yourself. But yeah, if you don't fight for it, if you don't go for it, you are. So I ensure that it is there for my institution, it's there for individual faculty members. Coming to women inclusivity, I make it a point. As a women leader, I'm very vocal about it. I craft my leadership style. How you curate a dress, how you curate a menu. So I try to curate my leadership styles, which is innate to me. I'm energetic, I'm very positive, I like challenges, I like hard work. So I create my, how you ensemble a dress, same way I ensemble my leadership style. I'll ensure that it percolates to the institution and it envisage in activities. So, women inclusivity in the innovative framework. So when I have brought my institution to the success, and number 2, in short period of 3 years, number 2 in Karnataka and number 18 in India, which is not a joke when my main campus is number 3. And they are 40 years of legacy, and our campus is only 15 years, and we are in the 18th position. It's a lot of hard work, and it is not individual based, it's a team based. So what I have done is evolve as a personal brand, either institution or an individual. What you stand for, and you mean it. You be authenticate, and don't copy others. Create from your own. So first one. Second one is ensure that you and your team perform. Because it's pretentious and very easy to fake it, as ma'am was saying. You have to have it in you to compete and present it. So high performing teams and individuals. That I have ensured that it has been created. And third one, I would suggest, I think we ensure that it is part of our education framework, or NMIMS Bengaluru campus framework is for sure, which is percolate from our main campus, NMIMS University, is to ensure that you start influencing people positively. Influencing people positively. That we do it by bringing lot of women leaders and show it to our staff members, colleagues, and everybody. See, walk the talk. They have gone through it. When you hear it from a text or from a framework, people may not believe. But when you hear from someone else, you start believing it. So we do a lot of efforts to ensure that women achievers interact, not sit at the podium, but with a coffee talk, and they start mentoring our students, mentoring our faculty members. We do a lot of that initiatives. And I think
technology, how is it helping in this one?
When it comes to technology, see, technology again is gender agnostic. But technology helps my women staff members and faculty members in a greater way to take up a leadership position, mainly because when you do a particular task, which is not technology based, let us assume that we give a project or conducting an event, women will take the back seat. Those who are not innate leaders, they will take the back seat. But you give them Power BI, learn, complete the task, come and talk about Power BI. Those who have a stage fear also will come and talk about Power BI. That way, I should credit my university. We are upfront in terms of technology. We have Gen AI used, not by the faculty, not by the student, by the staff members of my campus. They can create their own ChatGPT, their own. I'm not talking about using ChatGPT. They have their own private ChatGPT. Thanks to my Vice Chancellor, thanks to my Pro-Vice Chancellors, everybody talks about Gen AI, and we have adopted very comfortably. So what it gives them up, women, once they learn how to use the technology, it empowers them. There are two things I feel women get very immediately, quickly get empowered. One is technology, second one, financial acumen. Once women know how to handle finance, their financial quotient is high, I think confidence comes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this input. Next question is to Dr. Beena. Madam, you are working there in an autonomous B school, and this autonomy offers you a lot of freedom. So how are you using this freedom to prioritize this leadership development program for women in your institution? And this one especially to one of the biggest issues since morning we have been hearing, that work-life balance for the women. For men it's a very easy, but for women it's a very difficult. So how are you helping your women folk to meet this challenge or face this challenge and get into the leadership position?
The question is very long. I will try to make my answer shorter than the question.
Yeah, definitely.
So first things first, we have just got our autonomous status. And, I will connect it to my personal life. So my husband, when I got married, when he was supposed to be very much in love with me, at that time itself, he said, you do whatever you want, but 6 o'clock you have to come home. I thought, wow, what is this? It's like a dog, you give him a big leash, and then you say, you come back. So I said, now how do I take this? Is this freedom, or is this freedom within whatever, with constraints? So that's the same thing with our autonomous status. Our university says, I'm making you autonomous, but you do this. There's nothing autonomous about it.
Like kite,
okay, it is
patang.
just like how a man treats a woman. So that's the first part of it. The second is when you talk about work-life balance, as she was saying, I think hereafter you should not call both of us, because we are talking the same thing, we're thinking the same thing. Yeah, so yes, it's a confirmation. So the same thing, I have also felt there's nothing called work-life balance. You can't balance it. This is different, that's different. The girls here, the boys are boys. I always have the soft corner for girls. So this is for the girls. You have to read 2 books if you have not already read. The first book is called Lean In. It's a very old book. I mean, around 17 years ago, written by Sheryl Sandberg, and she was the COO of Facebook. You should read it.
What's the name of the book?
Lean In. That is, we have to lean. We lean. L-E-A-N, in.
Okay, fine.
So what happens is, in an Indian family, there's a father or a brother, all of us lean towards them. Suddenly they leave us, either for whatever be the reason, we fall, because we do not know how to stand straight. We have always been leaning on others. So this particular book was given to me by my mentor. He said, Beena, you should read this. I said, okay, I will read. But I said, what? He said, you will find a lot of similarity with this lady. She was a CEO of Facebook, and where am I? So I started reading, and you will not believe, after 50 pages, I was almost in tears because I felt, oh, so you are a CEO of Facebook in the US, is the same as Beena in Happy Valley in Coimbatore. It is the same. So what's the commonality? Be it in any point in earth, a woman is a woman. She goes through certain things. One is the bias. Okay, bias is not because of others. Bias is what you do to yourself. You always think you can't do. So she says one thing, you take a seat not somewhere at the table, be in the center stage, or at least be at the table. Never go to the second line. I am very appreciative of this, where I see all the girls in the first row and the boys at the end. So I think that's because of Indu ma'am's initiative. When you see a leader, when you see a leader doing that, I'm sure the women do that, and that's the first thing that a woman should do. The second thing is they talk about imposter syndrome. As I was reading that, I was thinking, oh my God, I am also doing this. Well, but Sheryl Sandberg was white. She was rich, she was intelligent, she was already leading a big organization, and she was also an imposter. And I was also an imposter. I was dusky, I was poor, I was teaching in a non-existent, anywhere in the map of business schools, I was teaching in that school. And yet, again, as I said, I was able to connect to that lady. Then I realized I should never be an imposter. I am what I am. When I say imposter, when I say a leader, I imitate a man. Like, see, I'm wearing a blazer like you. But that I did because I have to drive back and sari is uncomfortable. Otherwise, I love saris. But then what happens is we try to behave like men because we think men are leaders.
Or fake it to make it again.
We are not faking. So I leave the remaining 50% to your imagination. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is there's another book that you girls should read. That's called Boundaries. Okay, this boundary is learn to say yes when you should. Learn to say no when you should. We never do that. We say yes during when you have to say no, and we say no when you actually have to say yes, like what she did. No, she has learned. So these are the three things. If you do, the balance will come. It will come. The boundaries that you set, when you say the yes and no, will ensure that your family is good, you're good. But let me tell you one thing before all that. If you are happy, people around you are happy. So first of all, I would feel self-love is more important. You give your entire life to your daughter. She'll ask, who asked you to do this? Did I ask you to do this? Now the children say, did I ask you to give you birth? Now I said, no, how do I answer this question? So, children keep asking questions. So even when the children were young, I was a very selfish girl that way. I used to say, I'm hungry, my child is also hungry. Let him cry, I will eat my idli or whatever in 1 microsecond. I will gobble it up. Now that I am satiated, I take 1 hour to feed the child. If the same 1 hour I take to feed the child, when I am hungry, I will give him 2 whacks. It's natural. So first of all, learn to make yourself happy. You will make everybody else happy. There is no need for a work-life balance, is my contention.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. This question is Dr. Amishi. Madam, you are now in a private affiliated institution. So my experience all along has been in affiliated institutions only. So I know very well that what's the real problem there, because you have to live and your every action is based on the whims and fancies of your affiliating university. Yes. So with this limited freedom, just opposed to their autonomous institution, so in this kind of constraints, how do you ensure the environment of innovation for the women in the leadership role? And how are you doing that with the affiliated bodies constraints? How are you ensuring this one?
Very rightly said, Dr. Shenoy. An affiliated institution does face a lot of limitations. Like whatever curriculum you would want to have in your own institution, you cannot decide. Since you are affiliated, it is a university which will decide. Even though I am part of the university's Board of Studies and other such forums, I know my say is not accept it as it is. There are other people, male-dominated people, who will have their way and their say, and that is what we have to follow. So accept it. It's that way. We'll do that. But can we go beyond that in certain ways? How can we go beyond that is what I ask my own faculties to explore. So what I do over here is give them full autonomy, full freedom to do their own bit in their own subjects. How best would you be teaching? How best, what would you like to do? So, full freedom to the faculties to innovate within the constraints. This is the subject, this is what they are required to do. Now, how can the output be better? So, that is the best thing what I can do in the given circumstances. And believe me, because of the freedom which I give them, they are able to contribute better. So, that's it. I mean, one can go on and on, but I realize the constraints of time, and we'll have to respect that also. So,
thank you, ma'am. Final, last one sentence question for all of you, because we started with this Atmanirbhar Bharat, and for that, women's inclusivity is needed. So now, from each one of you, beyond your institution, if at all, you need to give one suggestion to government to how can you make this women in a leadership roles across the country. What one advice you give? I'll start with Dr. Narayani.
I would suggest, this is...
Prime Minister Modi is asking you.
Step down and make another woman a Prime Minister.
Wow. Okay.
Not necessarily,
madam. Actually, I have a huge regards for him because of Nirmala Sitharaman, who has the kitty of finance, which I relate to a lot. So I would suggest, if they wanted to do for that, increase the financial aid where it is needed for women empowerment. Because there are very well, I would suggest we are all very well supported, and we can afford to get supported. I know there is a huge section of women in India, irrespective of the state, where financial aids are required. So I would suggest that please increase the financial support, and if at all, quickly I have to say it in one line, reduce the interest rate for women education loan.
Excellent. Very nice.
Any women education loan. We don't want freebies. We cut down some specialty attachment, because when women is going to take a loan, cut down. So I think I'm more inclined towards the financial support, financial aids, which comes easily. I would say that.
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Bina, what is your opinion on that? What advice you want to give?
You already said I should talk in one line, but one line is a little difficult here because, again, adding on to whatever Dr. Narayani said, Atmanirbhar is self, okay? Like, we have to be
self-dependent. We are not dependent on others.
We have to be independent.
Yeah.
I think independence come only with money. Financial freedom.
I strongly believe that.
You know, when I have two children, I do not know why. When they were in the LKG, I do not know why, okay? But I just said one fine day, these two children shall be mine, of course they are mine, but I will take full care of them until they finish their studies. So everybody said, are you mad? You have a husband, why can't he share? I said, no, then he will take credit later. I don't like it. So what I said is, you do everything else, I will look after their studies. You will not believe my salary that time was 6,000, their fees was 12,000. Okay, it was always double. Yet, Today, both of them are studying abroad. In the US, you can do any calculation, nothing is less than 1 crore. I'm a very poor teacher, earning not a great salary, but yet, today, if both the children are studying, it is only because in the last 6 years, this is again the next lesson or the last lesson from me, when you start earning at least 25% of what you earn, be it 1,000 rupees, put 250 rupees. If it is 10,000 rupees, put 2,500 rupees. I just put around 25,000 rupees for the last 6 years. That's made my both my children, they are currently doing their MS in the US. Okay? And
Power
today,
of equity
I'll tell
bucket.
you, proudly I can say that only I am responsible for that. My children say forever. You know, when my daughter, she was among the top 10 who was selected by McKinsey during her placement. That time her CTO asked her, who is your role model? She thought she will commend somebody in the technology field. Of course, she said mother. No, mostly people say mother. So then she asked why. She said, because she's financially independent and I wish to be financially independent. So this is one thing which I think a mother should give her daughter.
I totally
Today, not only today, the day she started earning, both my children came to me and said, this is my salary, how much should I invest? I think that's the best reward for a mother.
Yeah, very good. I just
Okay,
want
thank
to
you,
steal
ma'am.
1 minute from here. Though Dr. Beena is very modest, saying herself as poor, academics is not poor. Once you learn finance, especially part of your management curriculum, if you don't know how to apply it in the market, in real life, there is no need for you to study finance course and pass the course and get the high marks. Learn to apply it. I'm a standing example of how a woman can financially succeed very successfully, at the same time pursue academic career in India. So there is a way, when there is a will, there is a way.
And the simplest way is to invest in mutual funds. I am not marketing mutual funds. I am not earning any money out of it. But I'll tell you, there are hundreds of companies working. Okay, they are working for us.
I'll come for separate session for financial quotient.
So just invest somewhere and that will become your second line, third line of income.
Okay.
You will never know when you start.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Dr. Amishi, again,
same question.
one advice, one line advice can you give to government?
Both the esteemed speakers have given wonderful contributions in this question. I would like to say something to the general public, the audience over here. And that one line is that respect a woman not because she's a woman, but to prove that you have been raised by a wonderful mother.
Yeah,
You know?
nice.
And if you permit, I just received this message which I would like to share to just kind of sum up the day's proceedings and topic. It is, once I asked a very successful woman to share her secret with me. She smiled and said to me, you must have heard this also earlier, that I started succeeding when I started leaving small fights for small fighters. I stopped fighting those who gossiped about me. I stopped fighting with my in-laws. I stopped fighting for attention. I stopped fighting to meet public expectations of me. I stopped fighting for my rights with stupid people. I left such fights for those who have nothing else to do, nothing else to fight. And I started fighting for my vision, for my dreams, for my ideas. And the day I gave up on small fights is the day I started becoming successful. Some fights are not worth your efforts and time. So choose what you fight for wisely. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Wonderful
ma'am.
summary.
With this, we are coming to the end of this wonderful session. Thank you for all your attention, and thank you for all the panelists for excellent insights from your side. Thank you.
As a token of appreciation and gratitude, we request Dr. Indu Nair to hand over mementos to Dr. Narayani R., Dr. T. Beena, and Dr. Nagaraj Shenoy.
With this, we have come to the end of today's panel discussion. Let's take these insights forward to create impactful change, ensuring that our collaborative efforts drive meaningful solutions for the future. Thank you all for your valuable contributions. Tomorrow, we will meet at 10 a.m. Thank you.
That's nice, ma'am. Actually, very, very carefully thought about. And you curated people from all over India. And yeah, actually, and she's thinking you are me. Yeah, that's what I stole your credit. I didn't want to stop her because you're saying no to me. I was trying to you wrote such a nice thing.
Our mercy you are existing, that mindset. Yesterday she said you wanted to talk to me about the session. It doesn't look good there. No, I am free now. You can talk to me. Push for them or compulsion to excel. Very fit. But here, whereas we are there for the. But I